Senju kill. Kyochi doesn't think how strong this move is, but its way of using chakra is very interesting, and it belongs to a special chakra mode. Offensive and defensive integration, powerful. The only problem is, the power of the counterattack is strong, but it is still within the normal range. It is not as terrifying as the destructive power of Shienju. It is not bad for ordinary ninjas, but it is not enough to deal with things like Hidan and Kakuzu. But Kyochi has his own way. Empty palm, frog group hand. Both of these are similar taijutsu, combined into a senju kill that is even more powerful and elusive. Kyochi's next step is to integrate them into one. Even senju kills. Who said that the knife can't fight back? Jutsu is dead, thinking is alive. You can't hang yourself on the old ninjutsu thinking. Kyochi returns to Konoha Shinobi School with Yuri. On the way, Lulu was still reminiscing about Kyochi's words. Guard. This kind of core is too suitable for the Temple of Fire. Their ninja monks do not advocate fighting fiercely, but as Kyochi said, when they need to protect others, they can burst out with infinite potential and strength. Turn out to be, this is the will of fire. He has mixed feelings. Lulu is still young and doesn't know much. Most of what he knows comes from the teachings of his elders, and his understanding of Konoha, Hokage and the will of fire is relatively one-sided. Even in some information he got, Hokage is still a position that affects the daimyo, and the power and functions of the daimyo are divided, which is quite a bit like an uncrowned king. Certainly, this is the idea of some nobles. But after arriving at Konoha, he understood that all this was not like that. Konoha is very powerful, yes. But everything about Konoha's strength is to protect the village, protect the country, and prevent the country from being invaded by foreign countries. Counting the history, the number of times Konoha took the initiative to invade other villages can be counted on the fingers. The will inherited from Shodai has been affecting Konoha until now, making the whole Konoha lush. He suddenly adored Shodai even more, certainly. There is also Kyochi. It seems that he is not a few years older than himself, but his ability and thinking are beyond ordinary people, which is really admirable. Arrive. A voice sounded. Hearing this, Di-Lu raised his head and looked not far away. His mouth grew unconsciously. In front of him is a vast building complex, several times larger than the previous park, which is it school? Bigger than the Temple of Fire. The school is very big, but it still doesn't feel practical enough. Come in and chat with you slowly. Kyochi brings Yuri into the school. Lulu quickly noticed that there seemed to be many buildings in the school, but when he walked in, it was not difficult to find that there was an empty training ground in the middle, and the surrounding buildings surrounded the training ground. The training ground is huge. It seems that it is divided into two. In the future, this is where you will train and study. If you live here, since you are an exchange student, you can live in our school dormitory. You don't need to pay for this. Thank you very much. Di-Lu bowed deeply. He knew how busy a big man like Kyochi was every day. Even so, he still came to give advice to himself. This kindness is not just because of the name. With such strength, the status of the daimyo is nothing to Kyochi. Even if he is not received, the daimyo will not say anything. Although Di-Lu is young, these truths, the host still told him. It's nothing, I just have a lot of free time recently. If you come here after a while, you won't see me. I can only say that you just bumped into me. Go report. I have already arranged a teacher for you, and you will see me when you go. Yes. Thank you again. He saluted as a monk, then turned around and left for the school. Kyochi watched him enter the teaching building, then turned and walked to the next one. Yamashiro Aoba is here. This guy's comprehensive ability is not weak, but picking one of them seems very lucrative. A little bit of genjutsu, ninjutsu and taijutsu. However, also only a little bit. I really understand a little bit, not my own modesty. He is already working hard to cultivate, but this kind of progress obviously cannot be seen in a short period of time, so. In addition to practicing ninjutsu and illusion, he is still thinking about how to better train ninjas. Now, his ninjas are not just crows, but several more common birds have been added, which are now all over the ninja school. It can be said, the current mountain city Aoba is live surveillance. When Kyochi came, he knew it immediately, but he didn't know it was him, so. Aoba. Ah? Teacher, are you looking for me? Aoba Yamashiro was a little surprised. He thought that Kyochi came to find Obito or someone else, but he didn't expect that he came to find himself. Right. Yes, please instruct. Chingye immediately stood upright. This is a habit left over from the battlefield, but he still kept it. Kyochi waved his hand. No need to be so formal, just chat with you a few words, and then ask you, would you like to go to Kyoto with Asuma and the others to be a guardian ninja of a daimyo for a year? Guardian Shinobu? Aoba Yamashiro was stunned after hearing this. She had never heard of this thing before. What are you doing? Kyochi explained. After hearing this, he suddenly realized. It turned out to be the ninja who guarded the daimyo, and half of them were replaced by Konoha. Not a bad idea. A few thoughts flashed through his mind, and then he came back quickly and apologized quickly. Master Kyochi, I'm sorry. I was distracted just now. What do you mean? Let me go with Asuma and the others. Well, the daimyo let Asuma's team pass during the Chunin exam, but according to the specification of a group of 4, they still lack one person. I think you are the most suitable. Kyochi explains why. Aoba Yamashiro knows everything, and is best at reconnaissance and intelligence gathering, and these are precisely the advantages that Asuma and the others do not have. Joining the Asuma team, his ability will be brought into full play. In particular, the current Yamashiro Aoba has more ninjas than just crows. Aoba Yamashiro was a little flattered, but to leave the village. He hesitated for a moment, and finally said, Master Kyochi, I went to Kyoto, can I still raise birds? Of course, if you don't know how to raise birds, I won't let you go. Kyochi said jokingly, and then said seriously, after you go to Kyoto, just like now, expanding the types of ninjas so that they can be more easily integrated into Kyoto will be of great help to you in the future. Yes, if this is the case, then I am willing to join the Guardian Ninja. It is good. Kyochi is no surprise. Yamashiro Aoba is a very typical ninja. He obeys the orders of his superiors and has almost no excessive demands of his own. He also cooperates with his teammates as much as possible in ninjutsu. The only pity is not strong enough. Come on, I believe you will be able to become a more qualified ninja when you come back from Guardian Ninja. Yes, thank you sir. After chatting with him, the basic staff will be done. There is no need to worry too much about Guardian Shinobi. Kyochi turned his thoughts to Nagato in the country of water. Nagato's problem is Rinnegan. The research on white Zetsu cells is not yet very convincing. It will be convenient to find Nagato after the DNA sequence research at the hospital reaches a certain level. So, for the country of water, you can consider the next step. Of course Kyochi wouldn't wait for Yugura. That's just a set of arguments to prevaricate Nakayoshi. Of course, he really isn't prevarication on the issue of rebellion. Now Nakayoshi is already a rebellious ninja wanted by the country of water, and Kirigakure even dispatched the Mist Shinobi assassination force. His commission is void. So, have to find a way to touch porcelain. This point, after thinking for a long time, Kyochi decided to let Might Guy and Obito go. Porcelain is a technical activity. If you are too smart, it is not easy for Punchy to succeed. Like Kakashi and the others, you can't do Punchy's job. Everyone is too smart, and the acting is very fake. Players like Obito and Might Guy don't need acting skills at all. Their true colors are the strongest acting skills. Certainly. Only they. If you are not allowed to touch the porcelain, it will be smashed directly. Gotta find a support team. In terms of support, Minato is very good at it. After all, he has the Flying Thunder God technique, but considering Minato's performance in the Hokage anime, Kyochi feels that his support ability must be questioned. Obito, Kakashi and the others, no wonder after all, the war was indeed tragic, and every ninja gave all their strength. Minato went alone to support his own people surrounded by thousands of rock shinobi squads, and could only let them perform relatively simple tasks, and had no time to take care of them. There will always be deaths on the battlefield. But when Kakashi and Rin, can you be late too? You must know that Lin had already become Three Tails Jinchuriki at that time. As a teacher, she also mastered Flying Thunder God, and she was one step late every time. This is a critical time, and Minato, who is easy to stretch, cannot be allowed to go. Still on my own. Kyochi pondered for a moment, and already had a plan and configuration in his mind. Needless to say about Might Guy and Obito, as long as they act in their true colors, it will be the greatest help to Konoha, without any embellishments or acting skills. Out of ninja school. Kyochi let go of his senses and searched for the target he was looking for. After a while, Kakashi found it. In the Death Forest, Kakashi hid quietly, observing the situation in the forest curiously. Not deliberately following. He went to the Death Forest to practice gymnastics, but he accidentally saw Yuhihong, Shisui and Asuma training here, and he would definitely avoid general ninjutsu training by himself. But, what is this doing? The three of them sat cross-legged under the three trees, looking as if they were asleep, but upon closer inspection, it seemed that they were not asleep, but a special state of cultivation. Strangeness. What kind of technique is this? Kakashi observed and observed repeatedly, but did not see any tricks. He was hesitating to continue watching, but when he turned around to focus on his own training, someone patted his shoulder lightly. Choke. The white fang short sword was unsheathed instantly, However, the next moment, the knife was pressed back again. The opponent is too strong. Hey, Kakashi, I haven't seen you for a while, and the speed of drawing the sword has become faster again. Do you want to compare again? No, no need. Kakashi had already noticed that the person who came was Kyochi, and Kyochi's words reminded him of the last time. Hurry up, this sentence once appeared repeatedly in his dream. He drew his sword very quickly. But, no matter how fast it is, he will always remember that there is an animal that is several times faster than him. His speed, it is nothing in front of the master. Mr. Kyochi, I didn't mean to, I just passed by and looked curiously. It's nothing, it's a special practice for them. Just because you are here to save me a trip, Asuma will go to Kyoto next week to be a guardian ninja. I decided to temporarily let you, Lin, Shisui and Hong form a 4-person team to act together. Kyochi said. Kakashi was wearing a mask, but it was obvious that he had tilted his head forward. He was obviously confused by this decision, and asked in a daze, what about Obito? Obito will be on the team with Might Guy. He has been working out and studying with Might Guy recently. The effect seems to be good. Let them try in the first team. Kakashi scratched his head, not knowing what to say for a while. What's wrong? Obito is a man, although he is sometimes impulsive and hard-spoken, but most of the time he is good. The problem is that his unexpectedness is combined with Guy's unexpectedness. I am worried. Guy can't grasp it. Kakashi hesitated for a moment, but told the truth. Might Guy is not weak. He has always recognized this partner, who has been competing since childhood, but this guy is the same type as Obito, and the two can't make up a brain. When the two got together, they were afraid that the mission would be messed up. Haha, that's what I want. Kyochi smiled, then stood up, putting his hands on his shoulders. The next moment, Kakashi saw the scene in front of him change rapidly. Flying Thunder God? Mr. Kyochi also. Wrong. How did he get close to him just now? Didn't feel it at all. Only then did Kakashi realize the key to the problem. Here, he didn't seem to feel Kyochi's breath, not at all, as if the other person had merged with his surroundings. How did this work? Kakashi's eyes widened, vaguely guessing something. Teacher. Sit down, Kakashi just happens to be here, let's talk about the new mission together. Kyochi pointed to the side, motioning for everyone to come over. Kakashi sat down with a strange expression on his face. He felt like he had betrayed himself, but fortunately no one could tell that he was wearing a mask. Shisui, Kurenai Yuhi and Asuma are more strange. What task? Asuma will go to Kyoto next week. She will be a guardian ninja for 1 year, and will rotate after 1 year. Then there is a mission here. Kakashi will be the captain temporarily and lead you to carry it out. What? Shisui and Yuhi Hong had no objection, but Kakashi was stunned. Be the captain? Is there a problem? No problem. Shisui and Yuhi Hong were very calm, they had expected this result a long time ago. Even the Genin team's 113 model will be gradually reduced. How can they, who have graduated and become Chunin teams, maintain the original organization? Reorganization is only a matter of time. Kakashi graduated earlier than them. He is strong, qualified, and knows how to command. Definitely the perfect choice to be captain. Asuma was a little depressed. Although he is also the captain, but as the captain, he is simply idle, and he has no idea what to do when he is there. Kakashi is different. Shisui, Lin, and Hong Yuhi. Hateful. Mr. Kyochi, may I ask, what is the mission? Kakashi raised his hand. On the surface, you are following Konoha's traitor, Hiruho, but in fact, you have to follow Might Guy and the others, and go out to support them when necessary. When necessary. Yes, Guy and the others are going to the Kingdom of Waves to carry out their mission. Kyochi said simply. Kakashi froze for a moment after hearing this, and then thought of the environment of the country of Nami, and immediately understood part of Kyochi's meaning. The Land of Waves is located on the sea between the Land of Water and the Land of Fire. It belongs to a small island country and has always been the mission coverage of the Land of Water. Go there. With Might Guy and Obito's stunned characters, why not fight with Mist Ninja? As he thought about it carefully, he felt more and more that Kyochi was suffocating. No matter how you think about it, it's a bit deliberate. Shisui and Kurenai Yuhi didn't know Naminokuni as well as he did, and they also didn't know that Kyochi planned to make Obito and Might Guy a team, so they didn't think too much about it, just thought it was a normal mission. However, the next second. That's right, I did it on purpose. With the characters of Might Guy and the others, and the current situation in the Land of Waves, it is inevitable that there will be conflicts with Mist Ninja. You should go out to fight and find fault at the right time. Kyochi made it very clear. Find fault. It is naturally the best if it can cause conflicts, and if it cannot cause conflicts, it will create conflicts. Anyway. Zhongji was indeed captured by Bailuhu, and they did kill a small group of Anbu. Are you afraid you won't find a reason? What if the other party has a Jonin? Kakashi was worried. He is very accurate now and knows how much he weighs in tails. Facing Jonin, he is no match yet. It's okay, I will follow behind you. What about dolls? Kakashi didn't know how to make complaints, and made waves one after another, for fear that the other party would not be fooled. He already knew what Kyochi was going to do. Hide. The perfect ability to hide his aura just now allows him to follow behind them without being noticed, and wait for the right time to make a move. It makes sense. Red, are you willing to sign the summoning contract of Wetbone Forest? Of course I would. Yuhihong was full of surprises. Katsuyu technique, she has been greedy for a long time. The others suddenly understood the last link, the right timing, which undoubtedly had something to do with Katsuyu. The teacher is determined to touch porcelain. The next day, in the ninja school, Obito, who had just reviewed the learning materials of the sealing technique, stood up with a look of astonishment and disbelief. Own was optimized out of the team. Teacher, me. Don't worry, it's just this mission. Kakashi and Lin have a special mission, so you need to go to the Might Guy team. Namikaze Minato scratched his head in embarrassment, not knowing how to explain it. It's all Kyochi's fault. It's too outrageous. Let Obito and Might Guy go to the kingdom of Nami to touch porcelain together. Fortunately, he can figure it out. What if something happens? But he still didn't let himself lead the team. Say what? There is a problem with the efficiency of self-support. Joke. On the battlefield, who doesn't know the speed of his Namikaze Minato? Which comrade was rescued, and it's okay. But on the other hand, what Kyochi said makes sense. Namikaze Minato is now considered a famous ninja in the ninja world. If you know that Namikaze Minato leads the team, who would not want to join their team? Even if you suffer a little, you can bear it, and you won't make any moves. Only when Konoha is weak can the opponent be strong. However, there is no way to explain this to Obito and the others. It won't work if you say it. Well, teacher, you really won't give up on me, will you? Obito grimaced. He is positive most of the time, but he is also very sad when he is sad. Namikaze Minato scratched his head and said, it depends on the situation. At present, our village team is integrated, and there are very few cases where the three areas are basically fixed. You have all become Chunin, so. I understand, it's called maximizing Jonin power. Obito flaunted. Minato nodded with a smile. Essentially, it's really about maximizing the power of the Jonin. Especially elite Jonin like him and Bai Yunzao, with 3 children, can't perform S-level tasks at all, and it will be different without 3 children. They can come and go freely from the S level to the A level, and can complete all of them with ease. After the reorganization of the 3 children, they are still able to complete tasks below B level. From the perspective of the village, it not only avoids risks, but also allocates tasks reasonably, and the existence of the ninja school also solves the problem of follow-up education for these ninjas. It can be said to serve multiple purposes. The only problem is, can they improve quickly without Jonin leading the team? This is an issue that all Jonin and Konoha executives are very concerned about right now, and this mission seems to be able to check the results of their ninja school learning. Minato gradually understands Kyochi's thoughts. The next day, the 2 teams set off one after another. Might Guy and Obito are in front, and Kakashi is behind. For Kakashi and the others, Kyochi has higher requirements, one of which is that they cannot be tracked by the front team. This difficulty. Saying high is also high, saying that it is not high is not high. The Might Guy team consists of 4 people, Guy, Obito, Shiranui Genma, and Ebisu. Among the 4, there is no ninja who is particularly good at perception. Only Ebisu is a little bit better, but the gap is too big compared to ninjas who are professional investigators. Compare. In the Kakashi team, Yuhihong and Nohara Lin are ninjas who are good at perception. If this is still found, don't be a ninja either. Kyochi followed at the end. This wave of fishing is not only to catch missed shinobi ninjas, but also to see if Madara is still interested in Obito and Shisui. The White Zetsu cell side is naturally also doing non-stop research. The research department of Konoha Hospital has recently suspended all other projects. Orochimaru is even more diligent. The rotation of the real body in the avatar has basically never stopped, and Kyochi is thinking about whether to let him go out for a while. This is really dedicated. Certainly. For now, forget it, the time is too sensitive, it is not easy to release him directly, but the clone is still possible. Kyochi pondered inwardly while stalking ahead. He disguises himself with the Rishi chakra, moves in the ley lines, and basically cannot perceive his presence unless Black Zetsu comes in person. Obito, don't be nervous. There is nothing difficult about this kind of mission. It's just going to the land of waves to help clear up the pirates. Might Guy is very calm, and even walks upside down at leisure. Belongs to never forget to exercise. Guy, you really don't know why Obito is nervous? Shiranui Schwanma was unable to complain. This guy. They also exercised and exhausted their physical strength during the mission. Of course they knew that Might Guy was this type, but you must know that this was the first overseas mission for them. Can't you be more serious? Ebisu coughed lightly and said, actually, it's not that serious. I don't think Obito is nervous. I am excited, Obito yelled. Nervous? There are also. It's the first time to go on a mission with 3 crooked melons, and I'm a little worried, especially since I'm also a crooked melon. Uncomfortable. Only now did he understand how reliable Kakashi is. Although that guy had a cold face, his usual command and tactics were all in order, without any mistakes or omissions, so he didn't need to think about it. Now, he had to think about how to take the next step, how to guard against unknown enemy attacks after going abroad, and so on, just like during the Chunin exam. After leaving the village, I thought about more of these. Certainly, he also thought about it in his head. The 4 of them had different rhythms. After leaving Konoha, they headed all the way to the land of waves. Halfway through, Guy remembered a very serious problem, and he lost interest in exercising. Everyone. Alert. Seeing his serious face, Shiranui Genma immediately took out kunai, tucked his other hand into his sleeve, and buckled the hidden weapon mechanism he made. Ahem. No, I want to say, do I have to go through the sea to go to the Kingdom of Waves, and I need to go by boat? Might Guy coughed lightly. Ebisu stroked her forehead and sighed. This guy, is it really suitable to be the captain? He took a deep breath, then nodded and said, the land of waves is located on the sea between the land of fire and the land of water. It is an island country, so of course you need to go by boat. Well, then I have to conserve my strength, turn around and cross the sea, I will run. Obito called out the confusing behavior. Nimas. If you don't have a boat and you run, you're not afraid of being attacked, right? Can this team be better? He had a very unreliable feeling, looked at Xuanjian and Ebisu. The 2 of them actually looked calm, especially Xuanjian, who looked like someone was being attacked before, but now he has put away kunai. Simple one sentence. Oh, gone? It's outrageous. He was lost in thought. Is it too late to turn around and go back to the village now? Seeing that everyone continued to walk, he couldn't help it anymore. He came out and said, everyone, should we go together? We don't take a boat to cross the sea. What if something happens? We're on a boat. This guy is a little seasick. When he gets on the boat, his combat effectiveness drops to 0. Let him run behind. He will naturally get on the boat when he's tired. Shiranui Genma was very calm. Didn't the wonderful father and son just run back last time? What a big deal. The corner of Obito's mouth twitched, and he didn't know how to refute for a moment. A group of people came to the fishing village by the sea, rested here temporarily, and rented a boat to the country of waves at the same time. Kakashi and the others followed behind. Kyochi began to practice and restore the sage chakra. He can now practice anytime, anywhere, certainly. The consumption of this journey is actually not that big, not even 1/5 of the 100 healings mark was consumed. This short period of time quickly recovered, and some more was stored in the body. Enough to consume later. Unfortunately, Madara lost a white Zetsu. It seems that they are really not interested in Obito in a short time. Might Guy really ran to the land of waves, but in the middle, chakra consumed too much, and finally got on the boat, and started to vomit as soon as I got on the boat. It wasn't until the Kingdom of Waves that things got better. The Kingdom of Waves is not a big place on the sea, and it is one of the supply points where the sea caravans of the surrounding countries come and go. At the moment, it has not been controlled by Kaduo's company. Thanks to its geographical location, the people of the Kingdom of Bo are not considered rich, but they are not considered poor either. Especially this year. With the end of the war, the number of caravans increased, and life in the Kingdom of Waves became much better than before. So, there are also more tasks. The mission of the Might Guy team was a real commission, not deliberately faked by Kyochi for the sake of Punchy, so Might Guy and the others soon had mission contacts to respond to them after they entered the country of waves. But the other party was obviously not that satisfied when they saw Konoha's team. Not to mention the 4 children. The captain is also a ninja who keeps throwing up and looks like he's dying. No matter how you look at it, it's not reliable. Where is your leader, Jonin? Sorry, let me introduce myself. My name is Shiranui Genma. Although we are only 11 or 12-year-old children, the 4 of us are already Konoha Chunin, enough to complete this mission. The task is only sea level. At this level, the Chunin team is completely sufficient. The other party was speechless. They really only gave sea-level money, and Konoha seems to have no problem sending such a team. After a while of silence, he took Might Guy and the others to the island. Although I looked at but I can only hope that their abilities are not bad. After all, the opponents are ruthless and unreasonable guys. If ninjas are also invited, I am afraid they are not opponents. Kyochi knew this information. He also knows who is leading the team. Old buddy, Ghost Lantern 1000 views. Ghost Lamp Chikage was caught by Kyochi before, tortured and studied for a while, and was released with Totsukusei Yebaden after the battle. If you change to other ninjas, you may have to redeem. But the Ghost Lamp family is not the same. Their family's status in Kirigakure is very high, and Kirigakure's talents are scarce. A ninja with the ability of Jonin and hydration will not be easily killed. And the men he leads now are not easy either. Taudi will not be cut again, Ringo Yuyuri, Terumi Mei. The team is not weak. The goal of this team's mission is also very simple, to protect a company to complete the preliminary work in the Kingdom of Waves. The boss of the company is called Cardo. The purpose of hiring Konoha's people is also to guard against the new Kado Mafia. So, the Konoha team and the Mist Shinobi team will meet sooner or later. As far as Might Guy and the others are concerned, Kyochi doesn't think that Chikage's personality can hold back this wave of porcelain, he's decided. At this time, Cardo, although the scale of the company is relatively large, it does not have the level that spans all major countries in the later generations, and it is more engaged in gray industries such as smuggling and mafia. The attitude towards ninjas is also respectful, not too rude. Lord Chikage, I heard that Konoha's team is coming from Nanakuni Post. They seem to have arrived on the island this afternoon. Do you think we should avoid them? Kado has heard of Konoha's strength. With one enemy and 3, he defeated Kirigakure, Iwagakure and Cloud Shinobi Village one after another. He can be called the head of the 5 ninja villages. As a businessman, he really doesn't want to offend. Gaidong Chinjing was taken aback after hearing this, and then asked, "Who is Konoha?" "I don't know. It seems to be 4 children. One of them has been vomiting after getting off the boat. My people are far away and dare not get too close. I didn't hear their names." Cardo replied. After hearing this, Ghost Lantern Chinjing heaved a sigh of relief. 4 children. Then there is nothing to be afraid of. He sneered and said, "What are the 4 children afraid of? Didn't you come to do business with the permission of the daimyo of Namiya, and Konoha has nothing to do with you, right? I mean in case of conflict. Are we Kirigakure still afraid of Konoha? As long as it's a normal mission, I'm still afraid of them." Ghost Lantern Chinjing said coldly. Cardo repeatedly said yes. They followed the team, got off the boat, and pointed at the entrance of a village. "That's right here. Let someone go and talk about it. Can we take down this land? We will build a pier here, and all the ships from this side will gather at this pier." Yes. Talk, naturally not a real negotiation. Kado is a mafia, not a serious businessman. Although he has just arrived in the country of Bo, he will naturally not have much sincerity when facing some villagers. He asked his subordinates to go down and threaten, and then give some money. Wouldn't it be easy to buy a piece of land? However, the person who invites the Might Guy team is the village head of this village. In fact, it was not the first time that Cardo's people had come. It was messed up before, so I invited Mist Shinobi Ninja, but the village was not at ease, so they collected a sum of money to come to Konoha to release the task. Cardo's men came to the village to threaten them, and immediately bumped into Might Guy and Obito, who had just finished eating and regained their vitality. Might Guy didn't spend much effort at all. A group of people were beaten to pieces by him and fled back with some injuries. After the beating, he asked, "Speaking of which, what happened here? These people don't look like good people." Dasna looked at the village chief in confusion. This kind of ninja. Well, it still looks very capable. But it's a bit unreliable. Hey, they were sent by someone from a shipping company. They said they wanted to requisition a piece of land in our village as a pier, but we don't want to sell it at all. These people are arrogant and unreasonable and bring people to harass them every day. The old village chief sighed. Their location was not too far from the coast, and there happened to be a piece of land suitable for a pier, so they were targeted. But that is the outlet to the sea that the fishermen rely on for their survival. How is it possible to sell them? After explaining the whole story, Might Guy didn't say anything. He was still thinking. Obito couldn't take it anymore. "We must drive this hateful company out. Ahem. It's horrible. How can there be such a person? Hey, Obito, we don't know the situation yet, we can't be impulsive, and our task is to protect them from threats, and it is not our task to drive them out." Shiranui Genma's reminder was ignored by Obito. Ebisu saw that he continued to talk, so he had to hold him and whispered something. Obito was taken aback when he heard that. "These." He really didn't think about it. It's decided. Drive them out. Ouch. My blood doesn't allow anyone to act so recklessly. Might Guy is playing chicken blood on the side. Shiranui Genma and Ebisu touched their foreheads and sighed at the same time. What do you think above? It's hard enough keeping one weirdo in check, but now they have to keep two. Bully. He immediately pulled Might Guy back. However, without waiting for their persuasion, the people from Cardo came again. This time, but it's not just Cardo's people. There are also 3 people including Ghost Lamp Chikage and Terumi Mei. When they arrived here, they were stunned immediately after seeing the people from Konoha. These 4 children. They seem to be people I met in the Chunin exam. I don't recognize the one in the green clothes, but the one wearing the goggles is called Uchiha Obito, a Uchiha. Terumi Mei whispered, but it doesn't seem like a genius. No more chopping, holding a knife, and jumping to try. He didn't think he was weaker than Konoha and the others, and he was even very unconvinced in the last exam. Now that he had the chance to fight again this time, he couldn't wait to make a move immediately. But alas. Now is not the time for them to make a move. You, who are you? Outsiders like you are not welcome here. Dasna mustered up his courage and stepped forward to question. However, Cardo and the mafia around him surrounded him, and he immediately took a few steps back, with a look of horror on his face. Who are you guys? We're Konoha shinobi for hire and we won't let you mess around. Shiranui Genma stood up. Even if the opponent seems to have hired the mist shinobi ninja, he must not be timid to back down at such a time. As for Might Guy, at this time, Yubisu had already held him tightly. The opponent is the mist shinobi ninja. He recognized the Ghost Lamp family who was caught by Mr. Kyochi back then. To Kyochi, the Ghost Lamp clan is nothing, they could be easily caught long ago, but for ninjas like them who have just become Chunin not long ago, they are unmatched powerhouses. So, let Might Guy talk, I'm afraid a fight will start right away. Is there no one left in Konoha? It's ridiculous to let a group of children carry out the mission alone. Brats like you should get out of here. We have a conflict with this mission. Ghost Lantern Chikage's face was indifferent, and his words were calm and unhurried. This mission involves ninja combat, which is a mission above B level. As a team that has just become a Chunin, you can completely give up. His words conform to some unspoken rules of the ninja world. Involving ninja combat, the difficulty of the mission will be upgraded to B level. As far as the situation of Might Guy and his team is concerned, they can completely give up without punishment. After all, the fact that Konoha can send out such a team shows that the people in Damanokuni have only entrusted C-level missions, not B-level and above tasks. The difficulty of the task changes, and giving up is not considered a breach of contract. Shiranui Xuanjian can see that Ghost Lantern Chinjing looks extremely arrogant and powerful, but he is still afraid of Konoha in essence, and he doesn't want to conflict with Konoha at all. He hesitated for a moment. Just thinking about what to do, Obito stood up and said, "We Konoha shinobi have no concept of giving up the mission, and we will never give up the mission because of guys like you." Yes, this is youth. Might Guy was also pissed off, couldn't hold back his emotions, left Ebisu aside and stood in front, his face full of determination. Even with 8 inner gates on, protect your teammates and these villagers. Guardian, at this moment. Terumi Mei didn't know what to say. These 4. Out of my mind or what? Obviously not a level of strength, why dare to make such a clamor? She doesn't understand. Ghost Lantern Chinjing's patience was also exhausted. In that case, don't blame me for bullying you juniors. If I didn't know their characters, I would almost think they were acting to make Mist Shinobi do it wrong. Kakashi whispered. The corner of Shisui's mouth twitched. Are you complaining about your teammates being so ruthless? But he had to admit that there was really nothing wrong with the Might Guy team's response. Even if Kirigakure knew about it, he didn't dare to say anything. Abandon the mission? Mist Shinobi does not have the right to let the Konoha team voluntarily give up. So, you can only see the real chapter under your hands, and this is exactly the result Kyochi wants. This guy seems to be the Ghost Lamp tribe that the teacher captured before. Obito and the others may be dangerous, and even if we are included, they don't feel like they are opponents. Yuhihong was a little worried. Hydration. There is no one on their side who can perfectly restrain the hydration technique. Even Kakashi can only say that he has a certain restraint ability with the help of Lightning Style and Thunder Knife. But the opponent is Jonin, and Kakashi is special to Jonin now that his strength is at the top. The gap in strength is too large, and the restraint relationship is sometimes not too obvious. Especially the secret technique of hydration. Don't worry, we have tasks that belong to us. It's not something we have to consider if we can't beat them. Kakashi spoke cryptically. But here are all smart people, and everyone immediately understood. Including Nohara Lin. How could such a task be entrusted only to a team like them? There must be someone behind. Mr. Kyochi or Mr. Minato. She wondered. But at this time, the situation ahead has changed. Fight. Might Guy directly opened the 8 inner gates, but, as they have learned about hydration, they are very clear that the threat of this type of physical technique to hydration is almost zero. Are we dispatched? Hold on. Kakashi pressed the handle of the knife, cold sweat dripped from his forehead. This is no small test for him. If the shot is late, Might Guy and the others are in great danger. If the shot is early, it seems too deliberate to follow the truth, although Mr. Kyochi doesn't necessarily care, but he must take this into consideration. There was fog ahead. Shiranui Genma shot immediately, and with a wave of his sleeve, a bunch of shurikens flew out from the sleeve. Then, he made a mudra with both hands. 1 shuriken becomes 2, 2 becomes 4. Blink of an eye. A sky full of shurikens covered the front. Obito was extremely nervous. In the previous wars, although the battles were very dangerous, but he was always protected by Jonin, and he didn't feel the threat of death. But at this moment, he understood that the battle situation was not good. An accident. They all have to die. You are too stupid, the end of stupid people is death. An empty voice sounded. Zebujan held a knife, waited for the opportunity in secret, and at the same time provoked with words. Ghost Lantern Thousand Scenes appeared next to Might Guy. Guy fought back immediately. However, wow. Water splashes. Next second, Might Guy was sent flying straight away. Moment. A fireball covered it. Great fireball technique. Obito does a good job of hearing and ninjutsu coverage, but alas, fire style has little effect on hydration. One-sided battle. No one can break the effect of the hydration technique. In a short period of time, they wounded Obito and the others one after another, but Might Guy and the others still did not give up, and Guy even opened 8 inner gates. However, with the hydration technique combined with the knife technique, Might Guy has nothing to do, and blood is already gushing out at this moment. Guy. Obito's voice sounded, and then, he quickly blocked Might Guy behind him, and a wall of earth rose up. Earth-style soil flow wall. He is not proficient in this technique, but at a critical moment, he used it smoothly, blocking the attack of Ghost Lantern Thousand Views, but he couldn't feel Guy's movement at all. Shouldn't Guy? He was very angry in his heart, and even had some extreme and dark thoughts, and his eyes were aching. Zzz. A piercing screech sounded. Ghost Lantern Shinjing was about to cast a spell to break through the earth flow wall when he felt a surge of electricity behind him. At the same time, wind-style great breakthrough. The strong wind swept through, blowing away the fog, revealing the situation at the scene. Kakashi support has arrived. Oh? Is there another team? Ghost Lantern Shinjing was carrying a knife. Excuse me, what are you going to do to our Konoha team? Kakashi is holding a thunder knife. Electricity flickered and flowed between the knives, and the electric light on his body shone. Lingo Yuyu narrowed her eyes. Thunder knife Fang. Mission conflict. We can't give up our mission. Konohas, let's give up the mission, even if you add you. The next moment, Chikage Ghost Lamp appeared next to Kakashi. But a burst of electricity shot out of Kakashi. Chidori stream. Damn lightning style. Ghost Lantern Shinjing cursed secretly in his heart, so he had to retreat quickly, but when he retreated, a knife came from behind, and the same electric current surged. Lightning style again, he felt something bad. You guys do it too. Yes. Ringo Yuri made a move immediately, using lightning style to kill Kakashi. Obito revoked earth style, and was stunned when he saw Kakashi and the others, but he turned around and saw Might Guy lying there limply. Lin, Hong, save Guy. Needless to say, Nohara Lin and Yuhi Hong are already in action. Kuranaya Yuhi had bitten her finger, summoning. Katsuyu appears. The smaller Katsuyu had the same effect, and even blocked Zabuchi's sneak attack. Nohara Lin turned to Guy in an instant. Guy's stomach was pierced. The injury is serious, but not too fatal. As long as it is treated in time, there will be no problem. Shiranui Genma and Ebisu take the initiative to meet Zabuza and Terumi Mei. Ghost Lantern Shinjing's expression was indifferent. You forced me. In this way, I have to kill all of you. Next moment, he appeared beside Yu Hahong. The knife swung swiftly. Katsuyu technique, he still knows. Kill this guy first. Terumi Mei entangles Kakashi and Shisui. However, as soon as she finished the seal, she heard a loud noise. A cloud of dust filled the air. What's the situation? She was dumbfounded, and saw Ghost Lantern Shinjing was blasted into the soil by a blow, and parts of her body showed strange and abnormal colors, which did not look like she had been successfully hydrated. At the same time, I said, what do you want to do to my disciple? You seem to be called Ghost Lantern 1000 views, right? You. Me. We didn't mean it, it's just a mission conflict, so I have to. I'm very sorry. 1,000 scenes of ghost lights frightened in seconds. That's not what you said just now. You persuaded us to give up the mission and said you would kill us all. Obito snapped. Kyochi took a look, his goggles were off, his eyes were fine, and there was no sign of opening them, maybe. It's not so meaningful. But it's not a bad thing for this guy Obito to open his eyes late. A single-minded person will become extremely terrifying after his thinking changes and solidifies. Kyochi didn't want him to open his eyes until he was well educated. Subsequently, he glanced at Guy. Is this what you said was not intentional? Also, that kid, please throw away your kunai, otherwise. As soon as Kyochi finished speaking, a giant rock hand appeared beside her and directly pressed her into the soil. I have no choice but to throw away your weapon for you. Seeing this, Terumi Mei threw away kunai decisively, and said, sorry, Mr. Kyochi, but this may really be just a misunderstanding. Is it a misunderstanding? I'll find out later. By the way, who are these? Teacher, their name is Kaduo. We have accepted the mission of the village this time to protect the fishing village, and they plan to buy and sell the land by force. Guy just said a few words and the result is. Shiranui Xuanjian stood up, filled with righteous indignation, tears in his eyes. Ebisu remained silent. Why didn't I see it before? My teammate actually has the ability to be an actor, and she burst into tears when she said it, and the words she said were beautiful. It seems to be true, but in fact it is different from what they think. Ghost Lantern Xinjing was in a hurry, and quickly said, that's not the case, I paid it back. They stated their interests, and hoped that they would retreat in spite of difficulties. I don't want to fight. Don't want to fight? Then my captain's injury, did I stab it? Shiranui Genma shouted. Wait, at that time, our negotiations have failed. Terumi Mei took over immediately. She saw that something was wrong, and Konoha seemed to intend to kill the nature of this matter in order to achieve a certain purpose. In addition, Teacher Xinjing, who was extremely insolent before, met Kyochi and was like a tiger whose teeth had been pulled out. He directly bowed and apologized without any backbone at all. Visible, even the hydration technique is useless in front of Kyochi Kanda. She is also cowardly. Lin, Hong, you treat Guy first, his condition is very bad. Kakashi, what's the matter with you? Aren't you going to track down the clues of the traitor? Master Kyochi, we came here following the clues of the betrayal of Ninbaruho. In addition, another border team of ours disappeared, and then we found that Guy and the others were under attack, so we came to support them. Is that so? Kyochi squinted his eyes, and looked at Chikage and Kato. Onito Chikage immediately shook her head and said, Kyochi-sama, Kirigakure doesn't know about Beiruho. We have nothing to do with Beiruho. When Terumi Mei heard this, the corners of her eyes couldn't help but twitch. Do people care about this? Obviously not. Konoha didn't care whether they knew Helihu or not. Thoughts swirled in her mind, and she quickly said, Master Kyochi, our mission here is only to protect Kato Corporation to complete the preliminary work in the Kingdom of Waves. We can give up this mission. My lord. That team, according to the current traces, should have been taken away and fled to the sea. Kakashi said hastily. Obito stood aside, completely dumbfounded, not knowing how this matter developed to such a complicated point. With his brain capacity, there was no time to process the information. As for not beheading again, Lin Xiyu Yuli. They can't wait to hide in the ground, so that Kyochi won't see it, so as not to revisit the old account of hurting Obito and others just now. Who would have thought that Kyochi would be supported so quickly? Just that technique. Flying Thunder God? Thinking of Namikaze Minato's performance, they couldn't help shrinking their necks. In front of the Flying Thunder God, any speed is a joke. See. This is troublesome. No trouble. We, Mist Shinobi, can help. Terumi Mei said hastily. She got it. What Konoha needs may be support from the sea. This was the only possibility she could think of. The little girl's thinking has turned quickly, but unfortunately, she is only an 11 or 12-year-old ninja now, without the means of the 5th Mizukage period. The deeper reason is really unexpected. Ghost Lantern Chikage was even more crotch-stretching, seeing Kyochi in the mouse as if seeing a cat. Her mind went blank, only the thought of running remained. The issue is, facing the Flying Thunder God, he still didn't dare to run, and now his legs were limp and he couldn't control himself, and his mind didn't listen to his own arrangements. Not to mention thinking about what Kyochi wants, it is not easy to maintain the current posture. Kyochi looked at Terumi Mei and said, Can you represent Kirigakure? Yes, we can. Ghost Lantern Xinjing understood this sentence. Can you represent? Asking means there is still a chance, and it would be cool not to talk about anything. Terumi Mei hesitated to speak. Teacher is really. F*ku. Can you? Today's Kirigakure is in a strange state. Yagura-sama, who was about to succeed Mizukage before, was imprisoned for no reason when he returned, and then he became Three Tails Jinchuriki. Even the elders may not dare to say that they can represent Kirigakure's opinion. But forget it, it's better to be a member of the Ghost Lamp family than to be on top of yourself. At least now I can survive. Terumi Mei thought to herself. So, Kyochi pondered for a moment. As far as Konoha knows, Ryuhu has a forbidden technique, which can absorb the blood of others and use it as its own. Konoha's team has been brutally murdered. It would be great if Kirigakure could help. Able to absorb the blood inheritance limit for your own use? After hearing this, Ghost Lantern Shinjing felt a little worried. Although he himself does not have the limit of blood inheritance, such an enemy is indeed extremely dangerous and Kirigakure shouldn't be caught, right? Missing is something I have to say. Halfway through the speech, Chikage thought of Nakayoshi, who was characterized as a traitor. He didn't deal with Zhongji. But one thing he understands very well is that Nakayoshi is so loyal to Kirigakure that it is impossible to betray Mist Shinobi, let alone do such a thing as defection. Is it possible? Zhongji was captured by Bailuhu. After all, Zhongji does have the limit of blood inheritance. Thinking of this, he felt more and more that it was possible. Hold, I'm sorry, I thought of a traitor. I was wondering if it's possible that he was caught instead of defecting? Is it Zhongji? Based on the situation I have met several times, he may not betray Kirigakure. If this is the case, I suspect that he is hiding in the country of water. Why not enter the country of water to track and search? Kyochi said. Ghost Lantern Qian Jingshan nodded approvingly, but then, he thought of one thing. These things, he seems to have said nothing. Master Kyochi, this, if you enter the land of water. Is there any trouble? After hearing this, Ghost Lantern Shinjing got stuck for a moment. Trouble? He looked at Kyochi's expression. The kind person can't be any kinder, even friendlier than his own elders, but he thought that the other party had instilled lightning-style chakra before, so that he couldn't use the punch of water style. Kirigakure shrank his neck and said, No, I was just thinking that the kingdom of water is so big that we can't search it piece by piece. Why don't we ask Kirigakure to help? It's also a good idea. How about this, you take me to Kirigakure, our two villages jointly search Ryuhu, about Ryuhu. There are some terrible information, I can't explain it to you. No problem, no problem. Ghost Lantern Shinjing nodded again and again. As long as he is not asked to search Bilihu together, as for the consequences of bringing him to the country of water, this is not a problem he needs to consider. Anyway, it is right to save your own life first. Ghost Lantern Shinjing doesn't think about anything else now. His biggest reliance is the hydration technique. When the hydration technique is completely restrained, how can he have the confidence to fight? Terumi Mei was harmless to humans and animals by the side, with a sweet smile on her face. Seeing Kyochi look over, she immediately put on a fawning look. Kyochi turned his head and looked at the others. What about the wounded? We lose money, we lose money. Ghost Lantern Shinjing bowed, then turned his head to look at Kado, his expression ferocious again. Kado scolded the sky in his heart, but he also understands the strength of Ghost Lantern Thousand Views. He is even afraid of Ghost Lantern Thousand Scenes, so he is naturally no match. We are willing to lose money. This amount of money will be used as compensation, do you think? Konoha doesn't do this kind of thing. Kyochi shook his head. The corners of Kado's mouth twitched after hearing this, and he changed his mind very quickly and said, Then I entrust these little brothers. How about following the A-level entrustment? Entrust them to escort us out of the Kingdom of Waves. Don't you have a job in the Land of Waves? Cough, it's cancelled. Kado dare not stay any longer. Originally, he thought that no one would care about the situation here in such a small country, but Konoha not only sent people, but also brought such a big shot here. How dare you take the idea of the Kingdom of Waves again? The road to the summit has changed, and the situation has changed drastically. The two sides seemed to have reached an agreement, but Obito was still dazed and didn't know what was going on. He stood there scratching his head with a confused and strange expression on his face. Kado withdrew. It is also inexplicable to complete such a strange task. Shiranuo Shuenjian guessed that this task might be a compensation for them. Although he didn't understand what happened, their task seemed to have something to do with the teacher. Otherwise, why support so fast? Even if Katsuyu tipped it off, it would take some time. Certainly. This is based on the fact that he knows Kyochi well enough. Ebisu might see a point. As for Might Guy and Obito. Guy is still comatose. And Obito. At this time, Obito was still confused about what happened just now, and felt that something was wrong in his heart, but he couldn't tell what was wrong. They took over the task and escorted Cardo and the others to leave the Kingdom of Waves. The difference is, when they came, there were only 4 of them, and when they left, Lin was with them. "Hey, Lin, why are you here?" The mission passed by, just happened to meet. Lin didn't say much. As far as Obito is concerned, if he knew the inside story, wouldn't the whole village know? This big mouth. Forget it, go back to the village and tell him. Rather than escorting Cardo, it was better to monitor them leaving the Kingdom of Waves. Cardo is very conscious. Now, although he has good financial resources, he is not so rich that he loses himself. He is very aware of the gap between ordinary people and ninjas, let alone. Kanda Kyochi is scarier than Chikage. With one punch, Ghost Lantern Shinjingen was knocked down. That kind of strength makes people shudder. Cardo sat in the boat, his feet were limp as hell, and he kept replaying the situation that happened just now in his mind. It was only after sending them out of the Land of Waves and watching Might Guy and the others land on the Land of Fire that they breathed a sigh of relief. "Boss, let's return to the Kingdom of Waves." "What a fart. Stupid you, return to the country of Bo at this moment." He didn't dare to have any thoughts about the country of waves, at least he didn't dare to think about it until he was sure of Konoha's thoughts. Money can be earned slowly. If life is gone, then it is really gone. Strength makes people calm. Didn't Ghost Lantern Chikage, who claimed to kill everyone 1 second, bow obediently and apologize the next second? What do you mean by yourself? Go home. Go back this time. I don't want to come to this poor place like the Kingdom of Waves again in 10 years. Cardo speaks incoherently. Wave country is good. Monopolizing the ship traffic here is equivalent to controlling the lifeline of the transfer station of the maritime trade between the 2 countries. Isn't the money rolling in? But because of the importance, it is impossible for Kyochi to allow a guy like Cardo to control its traffic lifeline. This is an important stronghold for caravans to go to the country of water in the future. Naturally, it must be in the hands of his own people. It's not that Kyochi doesn't have a caravan. Let Morita really come here to do it another day. But now, he still has to go to the Land of Water. "Sensei, shall we just go to Kirigakure like this?" Shisui asked in a low voice. He always felt that the country of water was dangerous. "Well, your growth in strength is pretty good now, this trip will be used as an experience, it shouldn't be a big problem. It's just possible to match Uchiha Madara's control body." Kyochi added in his mind. The gap between the control body and the body is not small. Not to mention, according to the assumption that Uchiha Madara controlled third Mizukage is not young, and basically stepped into the coffin with half of his foot, in that state. How much strength can it have? He is most feared by power and manipulative abilities derived from Madara. As long as you don't give the other party a chance, nothing will happen, like Yagura is definitely careless. Think of a way to rebel when you go back, and don't meet third Mizukage at all? After Kyochi finished speaking, no one spoke. Kakashi, Yuhihong, Shisui. This team is almost the strongest lineup of the new generation, both in terms of strength and psychological quality. Since they are going to Kirigakure, they will not have any objections. But after landing in the Land of Water, Ghost Lamp Chikage hesitated a bit. "Before, I was too concerned about many things and didn't think about many things. Now after one night, my fear of Kyochi gradually calmed down." As Jonin, he realized what he was doing now. To put it bluntly, it is to bring Konoha shinobi people to have friendly exchanges, and to put it bluntly, it is to lead the way. The issue is, he still doesn't know what Kyochi is up to. Track down the traitor. Bullshit. He came from the Ghost Lamp clan, and he was well informed. At least he hadn't heard of any activities of people like Hiryuhu in the Kingdom of Water before he left for the mission. Even if there is that is the job of Mist Shinobi's assassination team, Konoha's ninja should not be allowed in. Certainly. In normal times, it would be okay to have Konoha shinobi come over, but these are not normal times. In the current situation, the village doesn't know what is going on, and they just closed the country of water to prevent all foreign ninjas from entering. In this situation, they brought the Konoha shinobi back. "I'm afraid I don't want to apologize." Ghost Lamp Chinjing's forehead was dripping with cold sweat, thinking about how to do it well. "Chinjing Jonin, you don't look well, is there something wrong?" No, I'm just. Ghost Lantern Shinjing didn't know what to say for a while. When Kyochi asked, it stands to reason that his best choice at this moment is to have a good chat with Kyochi about the current situation in the country of water, and find a way that both of them will not lose. But seeing Kyochi's kind expression, he immediately felt a little weak, and didn't know how to respond. "My lord, my teacher wants to say, in this situation, Should we search around first, and then let our village send people over to discuss cooperation matters? Exactly. Ghost Lantern Chikage nodded again and glanced at Terumi Mei appreciatively. Didn't see it before. This female ninja has a very active mind. When I go back, I must cultivate it well, and I will definitely be a jonin in the future. He was grateful. Kyochi smiled after hearing this. This is also the result he hoped for. It is a single-minded approach to plunge directly into the enemy's lair. Only idiots would do it. That's right. That's Jiraiya. Kyochi thought about it for a while, and said, You Kirigakure elders who can talk. I remember there is one called Yuenshi, let him come. This is. Ghost Lantern Shinjing was stunned for a moment, then nodded in agreement. Afterwards, he looked at Ringo Yu Yuri, Zabuzon and Terumi Mei, thought for a moment, then fixed his eyes on Terumi Mei. You go back to the village and report to Master Yuan, there is no need to say anything unnecessary. Clear. Terumi Mei is not stupid. This is also the reason why Ghost Lantern Shinjing let her go. If it's changed, I won't cut it, Ringo Yu Yuri. Maybe something will happen. Kyochi smiled and said, Terumi Mei, right? Can I talk to you alone? I respect your order. Terumi Mei's posture is very low. Ghost Lantern Chikage, Zabuzon, and Ringo Yu Yuri didn't dare to speak. Kyochi followed her to one side, leaving Kakashi, Shisui, and Kureni Yuhi. Gaidong Shinjing and his two subordinates looked at each other, then sat silently by the side, not daring to make a move at all. Flying Thunder God. Unless they can take down Kakashi and the others in an instant, and use this to threaten Kyochi, and make Kyochi throw a mouse, otherwise, as long as they delay for a moment, they will die. However, Shisui's strength is obvious to all in the Chunin exam. Kakashi is a genius on the battlefield, and Yuhihong. She can summoning Katsuyu, so it can be seen that she got the true inheritance of Tsunade. Don't dare to move. Don't dare to move. You're smart. Guess what I want to ask you for? Kyochi took Terumi Mei aside and couldn't help but tease her. Terumi Mei shook her head. You are such an important person, how can I guess? But I will definitely let Mr. Yuenshi come to see you in secret. Oh, look, isn't this a good guess? Kyochi smiled. She looks only 11 or 12 years old, but in fact she is very eccentric. Although she didn't guess most of them, it was because she didn't know that she had contact with Yagura. He asked Terumi Mei to come out alone, naturally not simply to reiterate the point of Yuenshi. You didn't come here for Balayuho, did you? You guess. I don't think so, a traitor. With your strength you want to catch it early, there is no need to make such a big fuss, It feels like you have ideas for our Kirigakure. Terumi Mei lowered her voice. From Kyochi's actions and the request just now, it's not hard to guess that Kyochi didn't come here for Ryuho at all. If it was for Ryuho, why would he need to meet Genshi in secret? Aren't you afraid? Kyochi narrowed his eyes. Terumi Mei curled her lips and said, It doesn't matter, the current Kirigakure is rotten. Master Yagura did a good job, but when he returned to the village, he became a Jinchuriki. Her expression and attitude are simply two words. Swing. Since Yagura became a three-tails Jinchuriki and her status has plummeted, she has no expectations for this country and village. Power and family struggles are full of missed shinobi, and she can't see the future at all. I have seen Yagura. He looks small and has a lot of thoughts. According to the original situation, he should be the next Mizukage. It is indeed a bit funny to become a Jinchuriki. This matter needs to be guessed from the beneficiary. Kyochi said. Terumi Mei was stunned for a moment, then looked at Kyochi vigilantly and said, Don't provoke discord, although I am dissatisfied with Kirigakure's current situation, but I don't think the Ghost Lamp clan has this ability. Why the Ghost Lamp clan? I'm talking about the third Mizukage who is seriously ill but has been occupying Mizukage's position. Kyochi gave her a meaningful look. Terumi Mei didn't expect such an entry point at all, her first reaction was to object. Don't rush to object, you should have heard that Konoha replaced Hokage, right? Terumi Mei nodded slightly. We, third Hokage, are in their 50s, not too old, but our ideas and energy are not as good as when we were young, and we retreated because we felt powerless. What about you, third Mizukage? Kyochi didn't say much, but as a mist shinobi ninja, Terumi Mei knows it all. When first Mizukage was still there, third Mizukage served as a guard. He is not young now, and it is said that his body is still very weak. Recently, many things in the village are completely handed over to the elders, Yagura and others. This is why everyone speculates that Yagura will be fourth Mizukage. Therefore, this time Yagura became Jinchuriki, and everyone felt even more confused, not understanding what it meant. But if you guess from the perspective that third Mizukage doesn't want to abdicate. Seems reasonable? Terumi Mei was a little dumbfounded. This, confused? She didn't speak for a few seconds, and after a while, she said puzzledly, "Why? This is unreasonable. This is about you, Mist Shinobi. I don't know, but when a person is old, many things will go wrong, and it is not impossible to do some puzzling things." Kyochi smiled, and then said, "Your strength is not bad between Genin and Genin, but your concealment ability is still a bit weak. When concealing, you'd better close your breath together. In addition, you should be careful not to leak your breath when refining chakra." As he spoke, he also pointed out several techniques in detail. These are the little things he has learned from the Mist Shinobi technique and the silent assassination technique. To Konoha and him, it is simply not worth mentioning. But for Kirigakure, even the Jonin level is not mastered by many people, especially the Ghost Lamp family. Because the Ghost Lamp family naturally has hydration skills, they don't practice this thing at all, and Terumi Mei hasn't been with him for long, so how could they learn such concealment skills? In fact, Terumi Mei felt very complicated after hearing this. She can feel it. This technique fits very well with Mist Shinobi and Silent Assassination, and it must have been developed by Konoha after he got Mist Shinobi and Silent Assassination. But how long did Konoha get Mist Shinobi? Less than 1 year at most. In less than a year of research, there are such detailed and meticulous techniques, which really makes people have to sigh Konoha's research and understanding of ninjutsu. Now it looks like Konoha is Mist Shinobi. Thank you for your advice, I will follow the order. Terumi Mei obeyed unconsciously. After she finished speaking, she remembered. The other party is Konoha's ninja, not Mist Shinobi ninja, let alone her boss. She was secretly annoyed. But on the other hand, she has gained a lot of benefits, so it's hard to say anything, after thinking about it. Simply tie the seal and leave instantly. After sending Terumi Mei away, Kyochi came back to the Ghost Lamp Chikage. Kakashi and the others are very calm. If Ghost Lantern Chikage had the guts to do something, he would have done it long ago, so there is no need to wait for the country of water. This guy was scared out of his wits, but then again, who wouldn't be afraid to meet an enemy like Mr. Kyochi? To know, even the speed and strength of Third Raikage are helpless against Mr. Kyochi. Kakashi couldn't help feeling a little reverence. If one day my own sword skills can reach the level of Mr. Kyochi, mediocre people like Ghost Lantern Chikage are not worth mentioning at all. Really. When Kyochi came back, Chikage's waist unconsciously bent down. Zabuzon and Ringoyu Yuri couldn't bear to look at him directly. They understood Kyochi's strength, but this is too embarrassing. Our Jonin bones are gone. If they were Jonin, they would rather commit suicide than do so. Even at this moment, they both felt humiliated. Master Kyochi, where do we start searching for Konoha Rebellion? Please rest assured, I will definitely cooperate with you, otherwise we should collect information first. Don't worry, it's too difficult to find someone with our strength alone, and we need to rely on your Kirigakure's information. After all, the country of water is your territory, and it's not easy for us Konoha to send someone over. Kyochi smiled without saying a word. This guy is capable, but in terms of brains, he is not as good as Terumi Mei. You are familiar. Let's find a town to rest and have a meal, Mr. Chinjing. You are from the country of water, you should know where there are good restaurants. As a thank you, I will treat you to dinner. Yes, I know there is an izakaya here. Their wine and dishes are very good. Please come and try it with me. As for the treats, I don't need to mention anything. Naturally, I invite you to the country of water. As a member of the Ghost Lantern family, Ghost Lantern Chinjing speaks very beautifully, without losing any manners. A group of them followed to the town. Kyochi is not afraid at all. They eat wine and vegetables when they have them, and they don't worry about the problem of poison, at all. Kakashi and the others are more restrained, eating very little, and more of a taste. Kyochi didn't persuade either. He dares to eat because he has the confidence to not be afraid of poison. Kakashi and the others really lack the ability in this area, so it's okay to act cautiously. I ate a lot in one meal. When Ghost Lantern Chinjing paid the bill, he still felt a little pain in his flesh, but he still gave the money without hesitation. After a meal, he felt much safer, at least. Kanda Kyochi, it seems that he has no intention of killing him, and coming to Kirigakure has nothing to do with him. He was just a bridge, as a Ghost Lantern clansman, Mist Shinobi Jonin, does this matter? Maybe there is still credit. The aftermath of Second Mizukage is enough to let the Ghost Lantern clan rest in the credit book for many years, not to mention that this generation has produced a genius ninja like Ghost Lantern Full Moon. So, basically, as long as Gaidong Chinjing doesn't do such unwashable things as defection, the village will turn a blind eye to the contribution of Gaidong's family. The matter of Ghost Lamp 1000 views, it's really nothing. After all, he didn't sell any information about the village, he just brought Kyochi to the land of water. With such strength as Kanda Kyochi, I really want to come to the country of water. Even if they don't bring it, they can't stop it. He will choose this form. It just means that I don't want to have too much conflict with Kirigakure. From this aspect, it is also a good thing. Ghost Light Chikage gradually calmed down, and her heart became more calm. Of course, what remains unchanged is that her attitude towards Kyochi is still difficult to look directly at. This guy. Enthusiasm is very uncomfortable to Kyochi. He still prefers the rebellious appearance of Ghost Lantern Thousand Views. At least he looks like a Jonin, unlike now, he was captured once, and he looks like Stockholm Syndrome. It is really powerless to complain, certainly. From a positive point of view, the guy is afraid of this, and he is not worried about what he will do, but Kyochi still has full sensory coverage to avoid accidents with Kakashi, Kurenai and Shisui. They stayed in town for a day or two, until 3 nights later. An old man and Terumi Mei entered the vicinity of the town at night. Master Yuan is here. Master Yuan, we need to enter the town. No, he's already here. Master Yuan walked slowly aside with his cane. Kyochi's figure emerges from the soil, and when he sees Master Yuan, he feels a little surprised. No wonder Senior can become the pillar of Kirigakure, and his thinking is still clear at this age. Ha ha ha. I just expected that you will not come to the land of water without incident. Terumi Mei, you go down first. I will have a private chat with Kyochi Jonin. Yes. Terumi Mei didn't object. She is clear that a child like her who has just become a chunin has no right to speak or participate in such a big event, and sometimes, the more you know, the more dangerous you are. Genshi told her to leave, then looked at Kyochi. A shadow clone. But, from the breath perception, this shadow clone is almost physical, and it feels stronger than many Jonin. At least his old body will not be able to break this shadow clone. Certainly. He also thought in his mind, if there was a real fight, Master Yuan would not come. After Terumi Mei walked away, he coughed lightly and said, I'm sorry. I let Kyochi Jonin go this far. I roughly understand the reason for your visit. How is Yagura Jonin now? Kyochi didn't hold back. He doesn't have much friendship with Yagura, but he has the same interests with Uchiha Madara when it comes to dealing with Uchiha Madara, which is why he made this trip. Otherwise, he didn't bother to care about Yagura's death. I became a Three-Tails Jinchuriki some time ago. There is no big problem with safety for the time being, and my behavior has not been completely controlled, but the key is still a matter of public opinion. Master Yuan sighed. The status and reputation of Jinchuriki is really not good. Many civilians who supported Yagura turned their heads to support others because Yagura became Jinchuriki. This is why the Mizukage election is not being held now. After hearing this, Kyochi couldn't help but smile. Mist Shinobi Gang. It's so easy to control, it's no wonder Madara and Obito have played alternately for so many years. It really deserves it. He shook his head slightly, and then said, so, just being a Jinchuriki made so many people turn their heads and change their votes. Ah. Master Yuan sighed. Although this is the status quo of Kirigakure, it sounds uncomfortable anyway. He was silent for a few seconds, and then said, I don't know what kind of cooperation Kyochi Jonin plans to carry out when he comes to Kirigakure this time. What do seniors think? Master Yuan didn't know how to respond. The current situation of Kirigakure is complicated. If he wants to renovate the village, he is not qualified to negotiate terms with Kyochi. Even Zhangyoshi has become a traitor. He has no one available at hand. After a few seconds of silence, he said, at present, it is difficult for me to provide any manpower. In addition, we know nothing about Mizukage's situation. I know. What? I know Mizukage's current situation, and I can even offer a little help. But? Master Yuan knew very well that Kyochi was not a philanthropist, so he couldn't come here for no reason to help Kirigakure out of the quagmire, and he must have some kind of purpose. And what shocked him was, why does Konoha know more about what happened to Mizukage than they do? This, too weird. Everything has a price, doesn't it? If Kirigakure wants Konoha's help, he must put forward sufficient conditions, and at the same time entrust us to Konoha to enter, so that we will contribute our efforts, otherwise you can just pay for the information. Kyochi smiled. He doesn't open a philanthropic hall. Of course, he came to Kirigakure to solve Madara's problem, but he can't stop White Hit's work for the slightest benefit. Master Yuan thought for a moment after hearing this, and said, I'll buy the information first, and the price depends on the authenticity of the information. If it's true, I won't be stingy. Over the years, I still have a lot of my own money. Hee. Let's get an IOU first. Kyochi took out a piece of paper and a pen. Yuenshi looked down, then looked up at Kyochi, with a somewhat speechless expression. There are still people who doubt his character. Never mind. He didn't say much, picked up a pen and started writing the conditions clearly. Subsequently, Kyochi dried his pen in ink, put it away, and said, "Your rebellious ninja Nakayoshi was captured by Beluhu, and our Anbu team was assassinated. Biology." Strange. Master Yuan was curious. Let Kyochi say strange. What is this creature? They are not strong in combat, but they are very powerful in hiding. Even me and Bayan can hardly perceive them. They seem to be able to integrate with the earth, and they also have the ability to manipulate others. Kyochi said half-truthfully. Master Yuan was stunned after hearing this. Can't even see it. The pinnacle of reconnaissance in the ninja world is Bayan. No one knows how terrifying Bayan's perspective is. Every village leader sometimes dreams that his village has a white eye. Because of a pair of white eyes, it is too safe to investigate. You can't even spot an enemy like this. They are naturally even more unlikely to find out. You mean? Under the ninja world, there are a group of guys who don't know their origins. They are promoting and manipulating the direction of the ninja world. Third Mizukage may have been murdered. Master Yuan was shocked when he heard this. He opened his mouth wide, but was still unable to speak for a long time. Third Mizukage. Be manipulated? Then, Yagura? During the Chunin exam, I reminded Yagura that a child in his squad was being manipulated by illusion. This, Yuenshi understood why Yagura was suddenly transformed into Jinchuriki. That's the key. Could it be? Is there really a problem with Mizukage? To be honest, he didn't believe it, but compared to Kirigakure's recent unbelievable actions, he had to suspect that Kyochi was right. Third Mizukage may have really been manipulated. Then Zhongji? Unfortunately, he died. Beluhu mastered a forbidden technique that can absorb other people's blood inheritance boundaries, and plundered his blood inheritance boundaries. When we arrived, there were no corpses left. Do you believe me? Yuenshi complained from the bottom of his heart, but on the surface, he nodded slightly and said, "Thank you Kyochi Jonin for telling me about the Mizukage issue. I will find a way when I go back. Don't forget money." "I can't forget, I will send someone to deliver it later." Master Yuan nodded. Although Kirigakure has experienced the war and is relatively poor internally, he still has some money personally, and it is not a problem to pay for this intelligence fee. By the way, I suggest you consider the plan of Yagura being out of control, so as not to cause problems. That guy can control Third Mizukage, and he can also control Yagura. Thanks for the reminder. Whether Yagura is rescued or not, I will send someone to find you. Yuenshi has no intention of giving up Kyochi's side. Saving Yagura. Just to confirm Kyochi's words from Yagura, if this is true, he will definitely ask Konoha for help. It's worth paying a lot for this. The shadow of a village is being manipulated. Such an enemy, in the current Mist Shinobi, there is no ninja who can defeat the opponent. In order to protect the village, some price is not worth mentioning. What worries him most? When he returns, he will follow in Yagura's footsteps. But this point, he can solve it himself, but it's not necessary to ask Kyochi now. Aren't you going back with him? I'm not going. Kirigakure is in chaos now. I don't know what's going on inside. It's better to be outside than to go back. Terumi Mei pouted. Master Yuan seems reliable, but he is already very old. Now the village can't even find a qualified successor for the fourth generation. If something happens to Yuan Shi when he returns, Kirigakure will really be finished. As the whistleblower, I am afraid that going back will be a dead end. Really to that point, she thinks she can consider taking refuge in Konoha. Better to die than to live. If you live, you may not know what happened to Kirigakure. Kyochi looked at her with a small smile on his face. If something happens to Mizukage, do you want to be the fourth generation? What? Terumi Mei was stunned for a moment. She didn't expect Kyochi to say such a word suddenly. She didn't understand what Kyochi meant for a while. This guy, do you want to assassinate Mizukage? Don't think too much, it's just a literal meaning, just chat. Anyway, there is no one else here except you and me. Maybe something happened to your Mizukage by now. The original fourth Mizukage was Yagura, right? That's right. Terumi Mei nodded slightly. Yagura was the fourth Mizukage who had the highest voice. Even though he looks immature, his means and strength are not weak. Except for those family ninjas, most commoner ninjas recognize Yagura. So, not surprisingly, the original fourth Mizukage must be Yagura. If something happens to Yagura, the question of the next generation of Mizukage will be discussed. In a few years, do you dare to be the Mizukage? Kyochi watched Terumi Mei's expression. She lowered her head, making it hard to see, but judging from the perceived chakra fluctuations, Terumi Mei's mood was not stable at this time, and she didn't reply for several seconds. Do you know what a qualified filmmaker should do? Guard the village. Terumi Mei thought for a while and said. Kyochi shakes his head. It's too general. Protecting the village is a very vague concept. If you really want to become a qualified shadow, you need to understand how the village should go on, how to develop, and how to coordinate the conflicts between the ninjas in the village, the family and the families outside the village. Every country has ninja villages and ninja families outside ninja villages. For example, in the Land of Fire, in addition to Konoha, there are also the Ibari clan, the ninja monks of the Temple of Fire, etc. Not every ninja family will join Konoha. Kirigakure is also similar. And on their side, there are the Snow clan and the Wei Yoruichi clan. The powerful Ice Escape and Dead Bone Pulse have a subtle relationship with Kirigakure, not so much a subordinate relationship as a cooperative relationship. It is very important to coordinate the conflict between the family and ninja village. Terumi Mei fell into deep thought after hearing this. She hadn't thought about it at all. In her opinion, Mizukage is to protect the village and serve as the strongest combat force in the village to deter other villages. She didn't think about the deeper aspects. After all, she was only 12 years old. It's so troublesome, let's forget it. Terumi can imagine how troublesome it is to be a shadow just by thinking about it. To stand in front again, it is also necessary to coordinate the conflicts between the family and the village. Again, it's better to show it badly. What does the village have to do with her, a 12-year-old girl? Terumi Mei thought to herself. It's actually not that difficult. If you can't do this, then make sure you are strong enough. When you suppress others enough, you don't have to worry about their conflicts. Do you think someone like me can be Mizukage? Terumi Mei thought it was funny. Although Tsunade became the first female Hokage, the gap between her and Tsunade is not only in strength, but also in status and background. Granddaughter of first generation. With this status alone, Tsunade can get the support of many people. Compared with him, he has nothing. Is it important? Kirigakure doesn't even have the ability to take care of himself now. At that point, you may not have no chance. The important thing is to express yourself. Kyochi smiled, and the shadow clone disappeared. The Avatar's mission is complete. After hearing this, Terumi Mei couldn't help being stunned for several seconds. Kyochi's words. Of course she understood. It is very likely that this turmoil cannot be resolved within Kirigakure. At that point, Kyochi's strength must be relied on, and this is the goal of Kyochi's trip. Until then, Kirigakure who has the final say. It is obviously unlikely to be the current Mizukage. Master Yuan? Or rather, Kanda Kyochi. She rushed to a trace of despair. Kyochi Kanda is indeed too strong, without doing anything. Just a face-to-face can make people feel the suffocating pressure. If he doesn't want someone to become Mizukage, as long as there is a legitimate reason, Kirigakure has to pay attention. After all, Kirigakure had already lost to Konoha in the Third Ninja World War. Although the debt was paid off, God knows how much he will owe this time. However, what she didn't know was, just now Master Yuan didn't leave alone. Certainly, Master Yuan himself didn't know about this. Under the ground, Kyochi's wood clone infused with Rishi Chakra is following the ley lines, tracking all the way from the periphery to the interior of Kirigakure, without being found at all. They didn't find out until they tracked down Yagura's location. It turns out, the anti-perception ninjutsu that White Zetsu can't perceive is really good enough, not to mention that Kyochi has recently made a new fusion of this ninjutsu. The Toad Flat Shadow Manipulation technique on Jiraiya's body has been absorbed and fused by Kyochi. It's easier to hide when you hold your breath, and Wood Clone doesn't need to breathe at all. This wave is simply impossible to detect. Naturally, Kyochi came here not to check on Yagura's situation enthusiastically and try to rescue him, but to observe whether there are creatures like White Zetsu here. That thing is a baby. Although Orochimaru is vigorously cultivating, how can the effect of cultivating be compared to the original product? He squatted down and observed quietly. Yagura is in a prison, and it is not sure whether Yagura has been implanted with a spell by Madara, but he managed to squat a colleague. White Zetsu. But, just Wood Clone, Kyochi is not fully sure. He hesitated for a moment, and finally sealed off his own chakra completely to prevent his breath from leaking out, so as not to disturb the White Zetsu who was observing secretly, waiting for the response from the main body. And actually, Kyochi and Kakashi are already rushing to Kirigakure. Teacher, is this not a good thing for us? That's Kirigakure, go directly to do it, will it cause disputes? Shisui was a little worried. If they do it now, it will be a bit unjustifiable. Kyochi smiled. Shisui, the rules are set by people, and everything follows the rules. In the end, aren't you bound by the rules you made? What? Shisui and Yuhihong were both stunned. This is not in line with the teacher's usual teaching. Kakashi was lost in thought. Obviously, here. There must be special cases that they don't know about. The matter of Mist Shinobi is more complicated than you imagined. According to the rules, it is impossible to achieve the desired effect. Now we are stronger than Kirigakure, and the rules must be according to ours. Why bother what Kirigakure thinks? Kyochi shook his head. There is no reason for a big country to obey the rules of a small country. Although Kirigakure is also one of the 5 great ninja villages, the gap with Konoha is not a little bit. On the way to Kirigakure, he also passed a message to Namikaze Minato using Flying Thunder God to give an overview of the situation here. This time, he wants to catch only the living ones. This guy has gone to the country of water, it's really difficult, what should we do? Killed. Madara sat under the ghetto statue with an expressionless expression. Kanda Kyochi is indeed a genius, but throughout the ages, there have been many geniuses, and he has seen many people who are more difficult than Kyochi. Where is he now? All dead. So, he is not in a hurry, as long as there is a ghetto statue, he will not die, and his location is very hidden, almost at the junction of the world, and it is impossible to be discovered at all. Black Zetsu was silent. He felt that Madara was too confident. From what he knew about Kyochi, that kid was evil, and that guy might not be able to do things that others couldn't do. Like White Zetsu. He also thought that it was impossible for anyone to catch White Zetsu, but the reality is that the guy caught a White Zetsu somehow. And still kind of caught alive. You disagree? I think that kid is more evil, we can't take it lightly. If he suffers a big loss and it doesn't end well, it's okay if Kirigakure is lost, but what if he is tracked to his current location, or he has something new? Speculation. A junior, it actually gave me such a headache. Forget it, let Kakuzu and the others go too. It just so happens that they are also in the land of water. I believe they are willing to take revenge. Madara closed her eyes and stopped talking. In his view, Black Zetsu is another side of him, so Black Zetsu's concerns may be his own deep concerns. This made Madara feel a little bit emotional. He closed his eyes, his mind full of images from the past. Old. If it was a young man, why would he need such a headache? If Kyochi came to the door, he would kill him easily. There is no need to delve into the conspiracy. Pity, although he survived, he became like this, neither human nor ghost. Madara sighed inwardly. The current Nagato has made great progress, but the power of the eyes has not been developed to ultimate, which is not enough to motivate Rinne Tensai technique, otherwise there is no need for such a headache. As for those Uchiha people brought back, although 1 or 2 seedlings are okay, they are not comparable to their previous generation. Even Nagato, a foreigner, beat them. It seems that it is very difficult to awaken Mangekyo. None of them worry. It was really impossible, so we had to take special measures to forcefully bring back Nagato's eyes. At least, this allows you to choose the outcome yourself. After thinking about everything, Madara gradually calmed down. Kyochi expected that other enemies might appear, so he sent a message to Namikaze Minato in advance, instructing him to bring someone to help. But he didn't expect that, not long after, a special target appeared within the range of perception. Kakuzu. Since Kakuzu has a very hidden Flying Thunder God spell, when Kakuzu approached Kirigakure, Kyochi sensed his presence. Kakuzu is here too? It really is a gang. So, Madara already knew that she was in the land of water, and even sent people over to deal with her, leaving herself forever in the land of water. Also good. I saved myself a lot of effort, but it seems that Kakuzu is just a part-time worker, and it is almost impossible to track Madara's base camp with him. However, based on the direction he came from, it is possible to roughly determine where they were hiding before. Kakashi, there may be strong enemies later. This level of battle may not be for you to participate in, you can choose to leave now. Kyochi said seriously. After hearing this, Kakashi hesitated for a moment, looked at Kurenai Yuhi and Shisui, and gritted his teeth. Teacher, we don't go. Even if we go now, it may not be safe. Since this is the case, you must prepare for battle. Kyochi smiled. Shisui was speechless. The teacher really is. They are fishing casually, testing their determination and judgment. Let me tell you about the current situation. In addition to the unknown enemies from Kirigakure, the enemy may have S-rank Kakuzu and the Red Sand Scorpion. The opponent's strength is far stronger than you imagined, so this time you have to use all your strength to deal with it. Don't die. Kyochi looked serious. Kakashi's current strength, it is not an exaggeration to say that it is Jonin, but it also depends on who the enemy is. Guys like Kakuzu and Scorpio. Even Kakashi may not be able to do it, not to mention Shisui and Yuhihong are not as good as Kakashi. Subsequently, he begins to tell them about Kakuzu, the power of the scorpion. These are all information on paper. 5 masks, 5 lives. What a terrible art, and according to what you said, he has survived from the time of Shodai to the present. After hearing this, Yu Hihong immediately had doubts in her heart. From the time of the first generation to the present, the youngest is 60 or 70 years old. Not to mention, Kakuzu was already quite old back then, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to fight against first generation, Now he is at least 70 or 80 years old, so old. How did that guy maintain such a strong combat power? This is not in line with medical common sense. It should have something to do with his secret technique, but you don't have to worry about Kakuzu. I will deal with him. The key is the red sand scorpion. You must be careful, this guy is good at abuse. Kyochi's face was serious, but Kakashi and the others couldn't hold back their expressions. Abusive food has a hand? Like, indeed it is. The scarlet sand scorpion is good at the puppet technique, which is simply a gift for Kyochi, but it can be used to beat them. I suspect that this guy has also transformed his body into a puppet, because according to Bayan's reconnaissance, his chakra distribution is very weird, so don't use the vital attacks against ordinary people to deal with him. In addition, I suspect that third Kage also died at his hands. According to the rumors that he studied human puppets, I tend to think that he still has third Kage's puppets. Kyochi was very detailed. Puppeteers are strong, but also weak. As long as you avoid all their attacks and traps, basically there is only one poison gas left, so as long as you explain the traps clearly, he believes in Kakashi's ability. The three nodded slightly. With enough information, they were less afraid of scorpions. When ninjas fight, they are not afraid of the strength of the enemy, but they are afraid of ignorance. This is also the preciousness of information. Actually, with Kyochi's current strength, it is not a problem to fight Kakuzu and Scorpion at the same time. His ability is too restrained for them. So far, except for the full-body Madara and the few alien Otsutsuki, he is basically not afraid of anyone, including Yagura who became Jinchuriki. Lao Zi has been arrested, so he is afraid of a Yagura? Three Tails is not weak, but it also depends on who you compare with. At least. For now, Kyochi doesn't take Three Tails Jinchuriki seriously, not to mention that Namikaze Minato just wrote back, saying that he has led the team to set off. The squad members are all Jonin. Besides Minato himself, there are Might Dai, Baiyun Morning, Hyuga Hazashi. In addition, on the Konoha border, the Anbu team led by Mukai also set off to the country of water. But Kakashi and the others are still not safe, because Kyochi may face enemies not only Kakuzu, Scorpion or Yagura, but also, Third Mizukage, and his minions. In addition to dealing with these people, Kyochi also has to consider capturing White Zetsu alive. To be honest, it is not easy, but it's worth trying. At present, Kyochi is not without advantages, at least White Zetsu has not found his wood clone lurking there, and he will definitely be able to catch it at the critical moment. Kirigakure. Master Yuan informed Ghost Lamp Qianran about the situation. Among the 7 people, Ghost Lantern Chiba is the only one who got it back from the battlefield instead of being released, so although he has passed the ninja sword to Ghost Lantern Moon, he still has certain powers like Ghost Lantern Thousand Views. The difference is, he is more powerful and has a higher status. Recently, he seldom leads a team to perform tasks, and more often acts as a guard and patrol in the village. At the same time, he is also one of the few people Master Yuan can trust. Master Yuan, please give instructions. Few people know how good the relationship between Ghost Lamp Qianran and Master Yuan is, so he knows very well that since Master Yuan secretly sent someone to look for him, it means something big has happened. I went to see Kyochi and he told me the terrible news that our Mizukage may have been manipulated, and now I'm going to confirm that. What? Ghost Lamp Qianran was dumbfounded. Mizukage being manipulated? Just kidding? How can that be? His first reaction was disbelief. But Master Yuan waved his hand and said, listen to me. If I don't come back within an hour, or if I'm taken to Mizukage, you can ask him to help. Yes. Ghost Lamp Chiba bowed deeply with a serious expression on his face. Yuanshi thought for a while, and said, Chinba, your strength and ability are not bad, but you are not suitable as a 4th Mizukage. If it really gets to the point where Kyochi Kanda makes a move, you can ask Konoha to build us a 4th Mizukage. What? Ghost Lamp Qianran was dumbfounded. 4th Mizukage let Konoha stand. If we get to that point, I'm afraid it's going to be bad luck. We have no room to talk. You must find Kyochi. It doesn't matter if I die. The village must not be controlled by people in the dark. Master Yuan said seriously. Although at this point, the village may still be manipulated by others, but it is better than the current situation. The village has reached a point where it has to change. Ghost Lamp Qianran nodded silently. He turned into water and left. Only then did Master Yuan go out, heading towards Yagura. Yagura is currently practicing in a courtyard in the northwest corner of the village, surrounded by seal classes. It is said to be practice, but it is actually imprisonment. Except for people of a certain status, it is impossible for others to see each other. Master Yuan is of course qualified to meet him. He is the oldest elder in the village. Although he is not strong enough, no one will doubt his status and ability to govern the village. He can be called the pillar of Kirigakure. So, when I came here, Master Yuan, I want to ask Yagura something. Need to see him, no problem? Here, Master Mizukage. Alright, please, but please allow me to accompany you. After all, Master Yagura is a Jinchuriki now, and may be affected by the tailed beast's emotions. The monitor of the ceiling class wanted to refuse, but when he saw Master Yuan raised his eyebrows, his heart trembled, and he silently lowered his head and opened the courtyard door. Master Yuan walked in silently. The leader of the ceiling class followed inside. In the room, Yagura was sitting there with a very calm expression. He was not surprised to see Master Yuan come in, but he just took an extra look at the person from the ceiling class and didn't say anything else. Yagura, I have a certain understanding of your situation. I came this time to ask one thing. When you were in Konoha, did you pass through Kyochi privately? Master Yuan was holding a cane, and his face was indifferent, as if he really asked Yagura if he had betrayed the village. And these words shocked the ceiling class. Fornicating Kanda Kyochi? How is this possible? Yagura instantly understood what was going on. Only he, Jonyoshi, and the people from Konoha knew about this matter. Yuenshi either learned from Nakayoshi or Kyochi. No matter which one is possible, it means that he met himself this time to confirm and seek change. He didn't make any changes on his face, he just glanced at Master Yuan, and then said, I have a private relationship with him, but it's for the exchange of learning the combination of illusion and mist shinobi. It's really just like that. Master Yuan held a cane in his hand, and kept his face, but secretly he was quite surprised. He was sure Yagura understood. And feedback from Yagura mentioned illusion. Illusion. It seems that what Kyochi said is true. Yes, it's just that. That guy's illusion is very weird. Although I demonstrated it twice, I couldn't understand it. Instead, I paid a price. Yagura sighed regretfully. I will confirm your information. If it is found that you have betrayed the village, even if you are Jinchuriki, I will choose to kill you. Master Yuan finished speaking, stood up with crutches and walked out. However, when he reached the door, a figure stopped him. This is the guard next to Mizukage. He knew something was wrong. Master Yuan, Master Mizukage, please go over. I see. 1 hour. An hour is enough for Kirigakure to perish. Kyochi's wood clone made complaints about the underground, and Yuenshi's arrangement can't be said to be bad, just waiting for his feedback that the cauliflower is going to be cold. And now is the perfect time to get your hands dirty. White Zetsu went up. It is difficult for White Zetsu in the transformation state to perceive his actions underground. When he leaves with Yuenshi, he can give the main body a hint. Just Flying Thunder God with a little dirt can still do it quietly. White Zetsu takes Yuenshi away. Wood clone Flying Thunder God for the first time, sending a little dirt back. Kyochi sensed the situation of the soil and immediately understood the situation. Master Yuan, who is demented, came here and chose a stupid way. But the avatar can perform spells, which means that White Zetsu is also gone. It seems that as an emergency plan, White Zetsu has to take Yuenshi away and deal with it, so as not to cause accidents. Great opportunity. Kyochi's eyes lit up. Capturing a White Zetsu alive is one of the purposes of his trip, and White Zetsu would never have imagined that he also left a Flying Thunder God spell on Yuenshi. If necessary, he can instantly appear beside Master Yuan. Now, it's an opportunity. Want Kakuzu and Scorpion to kill me? Get rid of your lair first. With a plan in mind, Kyochi immediately stopped to seal. Teacher. I'll leave a wood clone, and you guys will move a little closer to Kirigakure. I'm going to go directly to Kirigakure to do something. Yes. Kakashi didn't know what happened. But just follow Kyochi's orders. To his surprise, Mr. Kyochi even mastered the wood-style avatar. This kind of wood-style ninjutsu is a combat application level, which is completely different from Fengji Toshiki's wood style. However, he observed it, and Shisui and Yuhihong were not surprised at all. It seems this is a technique that has been mastered very early. Kakashi was silent. Before, he felt that he could still catch up with Kyochi by working hard. Later, he clearly felt the gap with Kyochi, so he worked harder to practice. But now, he feels that if he can achieve Kyochi's achievements in a certain aspect, he can already dominate the ninja world. This guy. Not normal at all. Kakashi complained in his heart, and the next second, he saw Kyochi's body disappear. At the same time, on Kirigakure's side, White Zetsu was taking Genshi to Mizukage's side, thinking about how to deal with this old guy, but he just walked out not far. He sensed a wave of space. White Zetsu froze for a moment, then immediately realized. Here comes the guy. Flying Thunder God. He instantly understood that Kyoshi had already mastered the space-time ninjutsu created by second Hokage, and he immediately gave up Yuanshi, but the next moment, a hand held him down. It was a special occasion last time, and this set could not be used, but now it is different. After coming out of the ground, what do you want to do? Afterwards, Kyoshi quickly tapped White Zetsu's body a few times with his fingers, and the sealing technique with his other hand quickly covered its whole body. Seal hole. 4 elephant seals. Master Yuan was a little startled. He was ready to sacrifice, but in the end, reality changed much faster than he imagined. Kanda Kyoshi arrives in an instant. More than that, after he saw the Kyoshi seal, the ninja in front of him gradually turned into a weird humanoid creature. He had never seen this kind of thing before, and he didn't feel it at all just now. The person in front of him was changed by this thing. This. What is this thing? Master Yuan was shocked, then raised his head to look at Kyoshi, and asked the doubts in his heart. This thing. What the hell is it? Why can it change into an appearance that they can't perceive? I told you, you Kirigakure are now infiltrated into a sieve, so any actions you know about will eventually be noticed. Kyoshi said flatly, this creature is the reason they can infiltrate perfectly. So there really is. Master Yuan didn't know what to say. He originally thought that Kyoshi was just intimidating before, forcing him to accept the conditions quickly, but he didn't expect that Kyoshi had no false information about intimidation. It's all true. Can he be so honest? It's so weird. Okay, as a trophy, this thing belongs to me, you should have no objection? Kyoshi looked at him with a smile. Master Yuan shook his head resolutely. How can there be any opinions on this? Everyone has been arrested by Kyoshi, and if it weren't for Kyoshi Kanda, he can imagine the result of his trip. Either die or be possessed by this creature. He thought of this. A few drops of cold sweat flowed down his forehead. It doesn't matter if you die, the most terrifying thing is to be controlled, then the whole village will really be controlled by the enemy. He can't imagine. How many people in the current Kirigakure executives have been manipulated? Then, remember to give the money to save your life. I don't work for nothing. In addition, I guess there is a high probability that Yugura has been manipulated. I suggest you investigate strictly. Kyoshi seals White Zetsu into the sealing scroll. Time is urgent. He didn't have much time to break up with the old man. Do you need help with Mizukage? This. Wait for me. Don't wait. Your village will be gone, and I don't have time to waste time here with you. Do you want to help me? Of course, there will be a fee. Kyoshi speaks rapidly. The old man Yuanshi was a little slow to react, but he could also hear that the current situation might be a little different from what he thought. The issue is paying outsiders to assassinate their own Mizukage. This kind of operation sounds strange, but do it immediately. He also has his concerns. Those who know that he is for the sake of the village, to ensure the safety of the village, but those who don't know may think that Master Yuan betrayed the village and took refuge in Konoha. This. Well, okay, this old man is old, and his reputation doesn't matter anymore. Please do it, but can you borrow that kind of creature? Master Yuan said. With White Zetsu and Yugura's testimony, he can prove his innocence. Although Yugura seems to be a bit problematic, since he can speak freely, it means that the degree of manipulation is not that high. Sure. Thank you very much. I have to pay more. Master Yuan nodded helplessly. I want money. He can sort of understand Kyoshi's personality. This guy is really one size fits all, and everything is counted separately. This operation is. It was clearly a commission, but in the end, he dismantled 4 or 5 charging items from one task, leaving him with no reason to refute. Just very angry. Since I promised. Kyoshi didn't say anything, and went directly to where third Mizukage was. But at the same time, there was also a change in Yugura's side. A growl. The next moment, a roar came. Why? Yugura lost control. No, it's just that the other party knew the situation and chose to do it now, so do you still think that the situation of Kirigakure can be dragged on? After Kyoshi finished speaking, he took Yuanshi and disappeared. The reason why I brought Yuanshi. It was to prevent himself from being shamelessly judged as an assassin, and become an outlet for Kirigakure to forcibly divert internal conflicts. The house of third Mizukage is at the corner of Kirigakure. But there are a lot of ninjas here. Because third Mizukage is ill in bed all year round, the village protects him very closely. So, seeing the appearance of Genshi and Kyoshi, the group immediately surrounded the house. At first I thought it was someone from the village, but after a closer look, Kyoshi still has a Konoha forehead protector on his forehead, and his clothes are not Kirigakure's style at all. The key is, in this day and age, no one does not recognize the character Kyoshi. Everyone was silent. What's going on? Master Yuan, could it be Their first reaction was that Master Yuan rebelled and became Konoha's leading party. But think about it. If Master Yuan wants to rebel, there is no need for such trouble. Genshi has helped govern the village for many years, and there are many ninjas who trust and follow him. It can be said that his status in Kirigakure is higher than that of Danzo in Konoha. So, if he wanted to betray the village, he could use a more clever method. Therefore, the captain of the guard found it strange. Kirigakure is in trouble, Kyochi-kun, borrow that guy. Master Yuan said. It's too troublesome. After you explain it one by one, Jinchuriki has completely gone berserk, so, just get over it. Kyochi didn't explain in depth to them. The paper fluttered and danced in the air, and the next moment, his figure shuttled like lightning, and in the blink of an eye, all the guards were injured. Not only were they injured, but even the chakra in their bodies had acupuncture points. Howls echoed all around. The surrounding ninjas quickly surrounded him, but Kyochi had disappeared, leaving only Yuanshi in place. Master Yuan stuck on his crutches with a headache. Not mist shinobi people, that really don't care about Kirigakure. It's fast like Kyochi, but the difficulty of his aftermath has skyrocketed, and now the problem he will face is how to explain to these people. But this isn't a headache Kyochi needs to deal with anymore. He has now arrived at 3rd Mizukage's home. With his strength, ordinary traps are useless at all. He easily broke through all the defenses and came to 3rd Mizukage's room. 3rd Mizukage is very old. He is about the same age as Master Yuan, whether he can beat him is a problem. At this time, 3rd Mizukage sat quietly by the bed, watching Kyochi come in from outside. Kanda Kyochi? I've heard of you, but I didn't expect you to be so bold as to break into Kirigakure and assassinate me. No, I'm not trying to assassinate, just to dispel your illusion, Uchiha Madara. Kyochi smiled when he said this. This is the first time he has faced Madara directly. Although it is only to manipulate consciousness, it can be regarded as the first step. 3rd Mizukage was silent for a moment, obviously. He didn't expect that Kyochi would say the word directly. I didn't expect the blood of the Senju family to disperse into the common people, and you can still produce a guy like you. It's really interesting. Kyochi, I admit that I underestimated you. Since that guy died, you are the only one in the Senju blood that I can look up to. 3rd Mizukage has a smile on his face. Now that he was guessed, he didn't bother to deny it, that would only make him look more embarrassed and ugly. Kyochi shrugged. It's not hard to guess, right? I can only say that you were in a hurry, then, see you at Yagura, and there is nothing for you here. Can you undo my illusion? Madara smiled. This is an illusion created during his Rinnegan period. It cannot be undone by ordinary methods, and even more so controlled by his clone consciousness, it is impossible to be undone. However, his confidence didn't last long. Because, from Kyochi, a familiar yet unfamiliar power emerged. This is? Sage body like Hashirama? Wrong. Rishi Chakra. Madara reacted, he immediately understood how Kyochi was hiding from White Zetsu. Uchiha's illusion is very powerful, but it's not impossible to dispel it. Kyochi didn't explain much to Madara. 3rd Mizukage smiled, raised his hand and said, you can come and try. However, in the next second, his smile froze. The illusion failed, and it was analyzed and rebounded. Although he is also a master of illusion, this kind of illusion will not let him fall into it, but it can be seen from this. Kanda Kyochi's illusion skills are very high. If this guy's illusion can be combined with the celestial being chakra, it is really possible for his illusion to be lifted. He made mudras with his hands. The next moment, a barrier appeared under the house. A series of magic formulas converge on Kyochi. Madara has been operating here for more than 10 years, and there are many arrangements here. However, his magic formulas have not yet been supported, and Kyochi's body is the first to emerge with strange lines. Sage mode. Next second. Boom. There was a loud bang. 3rd Mizukage escaped in an instant. Outside world. Master Yuan and the others quickly backed away in shock. Seeing the situation here, the mist shinobi ninjas gathered around one after another, but when they got here, they found that the situation was very strange. It was obvious that something happened to Mizukage, but where were the guards? Not only that. When they rushed to the battlefield, they saw Yuanshi standing outside, while the other guard ninjas were standing beside him, filled with righteous indignation, but none of them rushed in. At the same time, inside the collapsed courtyard of Mizukage, the huge rock colossus stood up, and the courtyard below was crushed to pieces. Barrier, technique. Under the attack of chakra infused with the celestial being, all of them disintegrated without any residue. The water curtain below exploded. 3rd Mizukage came out, looked at the yard, and fell silent. At this moment, he could understand the psychological feelings of those enemies facing his Susanoo. Of course, he still remembered Senju Hashirama's true several thousand hands. That wooden statue. Although this technique is very different from true several thousand hands, it cannot be said in the same words, but Kyoshi has slowly practiced from an ordinary ninja to this step, and has improved ninjutsu to this level step by step, which shows his talent. He had to admit it. Without Sharingan, he might not be as good as Kyoshi in his own right. Kanda Kyoshi, you are indeed a genius. After so many years, Konoha can still appear as a character like you. If I were younger. Third Mizukage sighed. Only he and Kyoshi know what the hell they are talking about. Madara disdains pretense. But, for those who don't know, he doesn't bother to explain. Mizukage-sama. There was a lot of noise outside. Kyoshi looked outside, there was a group of ninjas around. This is still Yagura's rampage. Otherwise, there may be more people on his side. It's time to end. Kyoshi instantly moved to, third Mizukage. Madara's physical strength may not be weak, but this is just an old man in his 70s and 80s, and he is still in a state of mental control. It is not bad to be able to display half of his physical strength. Madara couldn't dodge it at all. And, in fact, before the Kyoshi people arrived, the chakra blockade had arrived first. Empty palm. There is no 8 trigrams field and white eyes, but Kyoshi's medical knowledge is enough to allow him to skillfully and precisely hit the acupuncture points that need to be hit, blocking third Mizukage's chakra. Next step, it's a simple illusion removal. Madara's illusion is more troublesome, but for Kyoshi, it just takes a little more time, but those mist shinobi ninjas can't hold back at this time. But Master Yuan stood there and stopped them. Certainly. More importantly, Kyoshi was already standing directly next to third Mizukage, and they didn't dare to go up even if they wanted to. What if the kid killed Mizukage? One by one can only be anxious. When the illusion was cleared, Kyoshi also wanted to use time-space ninjutsu to counter-track and locate, but unfortunately, Madara blocked it very quickly. Almost instantly, contact with third Mizukage was severed. Illusion lifted. Kyoshi looked at Yuenshi and said, "Third Mizukage's illusion has been lifted. Bring someone for treatment. Remember what you said." "Thank you, Kyoshi Jonin." Master Yuan bowed deeply. Of course he remembered. Even if he doesn't remember, the stone statue standing behind Kyoshi at this moment is enough to remind him of what he said. Next second, Kyoshi left. Third Mizukage is still alive, although his body is empty, but at least he is not dead. The news on him will shock everyone in Kirigakure, but this is not something Kyoshi needs to think about. He is going to find Yagura now, by the way. See how Yagura was manipulated. Kyoshi guessed that it might be the imprisoning charm, otherwise Yagura could not have his own consciousness and be able to speak something. But it is also true that Yagura was manipulated to a certain extent. Like now, his runaway is obviously Madara's handwriting. Madara wants to use this to stop herself, but unfortunately, Flying Thunder God is unreasonable, and Kyoshi has no intention of reasoning with Mist Shinobi's ninjas. Yagura has completely turned into a tailed beast, and at this time is wantonly destroying Kirigakure and killing Kyoshi. However, this level of tailed beast is not a threat to him at all. Big does not mean strong. He doesn't need much to deal with the beast-tailed Yagura. Just absorb and seal. Just missing a chance to get the 3 tails chakra. How about it? Ha ha ha, what an interesting guy. If he was 20 years younger, I really want to fight Jin now and give him death. Madara laughed wildly under the golem. Combining immortal chakra with wood style, coupled with some hidden breath and chakra fluctuation skills, it is indeed not difficult to avoid White Zetsu's perception. Even myself. Kyoshi didn't even sense his presence until Kyoshi made his shot. The guy had already honed his anti-perception to an almost instinctive level. Not only that. Flying Thunder God, illusion, sealing and even physical skills, this guy has reached a very terrifying level. In terms of talent, Madara thinks he is not as good as Kyoshi. I said, now is not the time to be happy, this guy may find us at any time. Black Zetsu was speechless. When is it, are you still laughing? Looking back, I'm afraid that if it wasn't for his hometown, it would be overthrown, and his decades-long plan would be completely ruined. What are you afraid of? We have enough time, you are immortal and cannot be sealed, and I have already left behind Nagato. As long as you possess him, you can control him, so what is there to be afraid of? Madara smiled softly. A trace of regret appeared on the old face. I am more eager to get a real battle. It has been a long, long time since I have experienced such an experience. Unfortunately, it is just a clone control after all. Forgive Black Zetsu for not being able to understand Madara's brain circuit. He felt that Madara was crazy at the moment. Instead of thinking about how to deal with the follow-up, he thought about fighting Kyoshi heartily. Just your body. It's really not the slightest bit of comprehension, is it? Where is Yagura? Don't worry, on his side, I'm just a temporary illusion spell, and it will disappear when I manipulate him into a rampage. Unfortunately, I originally wanted to use him to sneak attack, but I didn't expect that Kyoshi didn't follow my train of thought at all. Madara sighed regretfully. Originally, according to his idea, it should be Yuenshi who rescued people, and then Yagura cooperated with Kakuzu and Scorpion to kill Kyoshi Kanda, and the result. Who would have thought that Kyoshi Kanda would have mastered the Flying Thunder God? Do not. I'm afraid it's more than that. He pondered for a moment, then said, that guy has mastered a very strong invisibility technique. Even my avatar can't perceive it. You have to be careful in the future. No wonder he was able to catch two of them one after another. Fortunately, they have no direct connection with the golem, and the other party cannot track them back. Black Zetsu was glad to hear that, but when I thought about it, I felt something was wrong. Listen to what Madara means. Be careful in the future. What? This guy is going to send heroically. The runaway Yagura was full of tailed beast chakra, and the first time he saw Kyoshi, he rushed towards him, and his mouth was even more condensed with tailed beast chakra. Tailed beast bomb. Kyoshi narrowed his eyes. The tailed beast bomb condensed very fast, and in the blink of an eye, the black ball sprayed out and bombarded him. But, at the same time, paper shurikens flew out of Kyoshi. These shuriken origami are all engraved with Kyoshi's Flying Thunder God formula, each flying in the air but still under Kyoshi's control. The moment the tailed beast bomb blasted over. Flying Thunder God Guide Thunder. Although the tailed beast bomb of 3 tails is powerful, it still has a big gap compared with 8 tails and 9 tails. At least, it is not difficult for Kyoshi to transfer tailed beast bomb with Flying Thunder God. In an instant, the tailed beast bomb appeared in the air, turning to blast 3 tails himself. This. What kind of technique? Ghost Lantern Moon's eyes widened in disbelief. Even the tailed beast bomb. Not to mention ninjutsu in normal combat, it must also be transferable. In this way, wouldn't Kyoshi be invincible? Ninjutsu has lost its meaning to him. Unless you can attack him with physical and sword techniques, then, Ghost Lantern Full Moon is very clear that Kanda Kyoshi is a master of physical and sword techniques. Especially ninjutsu. In the entire ninja world, there are not many people stronger than him. Do not. To be precise, it is a no thinking of this, Ghost Lantern Full Moon couldn't help but feel a little desperate. This kind of strength has already made him lose the idea of revenging and being an enemy, because it is impossible for him to be Kyoshi's opponent. Boom. There was a loud bang. The tailed beast bomb of the 3 tails Jinchuriki knocked himself to the ground, roaring in pain. Fortunately, 3 tails has extremely strong defenses, and a few attacks did not endanger their lives. However, the next moment, Kyoshi appeared beside him, and on the other side, Wood Clone slipped under Yagura. When Kyoshi began to use the 4-elephant seal to suppress the tailed beast chakra, the Wood Clone underneath was quickly absorbing the tailed beast chakra with the chakra absorption technique. Under the powerful chakra fluctuations, no one noticed the little chakra breath of the Wood Clone underneath. All they saw was that the tailed beast was suppressed, and now it is gradually being sealed. Master Yuan was even a little confused. Kanda Kyoshi. It turns out that the people who came to Kirigakure are good people and good deeds. Although there is a fee, compared to Kirigakure's safety, a little money is nothing to mention, and the combat power and seals paid by Kyoshi are far more than the measurable money. Master Yuan, we know. Let's take 3rd Mizukage to rest first. He has no physical injuries, but he is a little mentally weak. As for Yagura, we don't need to worry about it. It seems that Kyoshi will take care of everything. Master Yuan said. Others hesitated to speak. A Konoha ninja, who was their worst enemy before, is now helping them suppress chaos in Kirigakure, which is magical no matter how you think about it. The reason for this is very complicated. I will tell you when the chaos is over. Master Yuan himself is not very clear, but he is clearer. In the dark of the ninja world, there is indeed such a group of people who are controlling the direction of the ninja world. The war between Kirigakure and Konoha broke out precisely under such a background. Otherwise, according to Yuenshi's own strategy, the current Kirigakure would not be suitable for fighting Konoha at all. He took a deep breath and began to think about what to do next. No doubt. As far as Yagura's current situation is concerned, it is basically impossible to become Mizukage. Even if he was manipulated by contact and became a normal person, but there was a precedent of running wild and hurting the village, the civilians in the village would not support him at all. So, now the biggest headache is 4th Mizukage's problem. This location. Who is coming? 3rd Mizukage is obviously dead. Yuenshi is not a professional medical ninja, but 3rd Mizukage's situation is so bad that he can understand it without a medical ninja. His physical wear and tear was severe, so many years. It's hard to imagine what happened to third Mizukage. Even more ridiculous. Kirigakure has been ruled by outsiders for so many years, but their subordinates don't know anything, and they need an outsider to remind them to know the truth. Master Yuan raised his head and saw that Yagura in the distance had changed from a full-tailed beast to a half-tailed beast. At this time, Yagura was still roaring wildly. But after getting smaller, it no longer has the momentum it had before, but instead looks a bit imaginary. And it seemed that Yagura wanted to say something, but couldn't say it at all. Master Yuan was somewhat confused. Gradually, Yagura lost the strength to struggle, and even the half-tailed animal form disappeared, completely turning into a normal state, and Yuan Shi led people to surround him immediately. Wait a minute. I have to check. Kyochi not seal. Chakra scalpel emerges. Next moment, there was a small cut in Yagura's chest. The situation inside could be observed from the opening. Kyochi sensed it for a moment, and frowned slightly. There are indeed signs of the spell. But just now, the spell has dissipated, and now there is only a little residual alien chakra, and he checked, and there is no illusion on Yagura. On the contrary, Three Tails has a familiar contract. Kyochi successfully sealed the contract to isolate Madara from controlling the tail beast, but by the way, he left a back door in the tail beast contract. If he succeeds in further research on the contract seal in the future, maybe you can use this back door to control the Three Tails tail beast. Certainly. This is just in case Kirigakure uses Tailed Beast to deal with Konoha in the future. The Tailed Beast chakra has been obtained, and all of them are temporarily sealed in Wood Clone. The difference between Wood Clone and Shadow Clone is that it is relatively independent. Sealed into the Wood Clone, as long as you don't touch him, it can maintain a certain activity until the chakra is exhausted, and seal these Tailed Beast chakra. Take it out and use it when you need it. Over at the village, he also sealed some 4 tails chakra. Count Kushina's 9 tails. In this way, there are already 3 kinds of tail beast chakra. Kyochi was thinking. There are still 6 kinds. But for now, he just has a rough idea. He wants to collect 9 kinds of tailed beasts, and see if he can do 10 tails chakra in the future. With Rishi chakra, his need for tailed beastization is not so high. Unless, learn to perfect tail beastization. But that kind of thing can't be done only by chakra, and it also needs the practical help of the tail beast, which is not realistic at all at present. Therefore, these chakra are in his hands and are only used as reserves. After getting this done, he sensed the outside world. Kakuzu is still approaching. It is estimated that we have already met Kakashi and the others. Master Yuan, Yagura is safe here. Remember our deal, or I will come to you later. After finishing speaking, he turned his head to Flying Thunder God to support Kakashi and the others. Master Yuan naturally agreed. Now Kirigakure is very weak, and there are enemies watching in the dark. Without the help of Konoha, it is not impossible for Kirigakure to be wiped out at any time. The only thing to count on now is Kyochi Kanda. So he must pay the money. And the most embarrassing thing is that Kyochi didn't directly explain how much money it was, but just added money, again and again. What the hell? How much money is in line with the other party's psychological expectations? Master Yuan was a little emboldened. Although he was calm on the surface, he was already thinking about what to do next. After thinking about it, he decided to take a look at Yagura's situation first. Check it out. Yagura tailed beast chakra is all drained. Good guy. Is the goose too plucking? Master Yuan, what happened? At this time, Tonkao Yubai people were late. In fact, he arrived early. But whether it's third Mizukage who looks abnormal, Kyochi Kanda, or Yagura with a tailed beast, he can't deal with them all, so he simply hides in the dark as a blind man. Did not expect. Kanda Kyochi is not here to destroy, but to help Kirigakure. It's outrageous. Master Yuan glanced at him. He didn't reveal the fact that Tonkao Byron had arrived before. How to settle accounts is a follow-up matter. It's only a headache if this guy really came out to trouble him. But at this time, with a group of people around, he had to explain something. Kyochi Jonin is a helper I secretly invited from Konoha to help us solve the internal problems in the village. Now that the task is completed, he will leave naturally, so you don't need to think too much. As for the specific reason, I will explain it to you in detail tomorrow. Master Yuan said. His eyes scanned the audience. No objection. Now Kirigakure, Mizukage, and Yagura have problems one after another. Basically, Yuenshi is the only one who dominates. Many Jonin doubt whether Yuenshi is doing things. But now they don't know what happened, and rash speculation may make things worse. And at least so far, neither Mizukage nor Yagura seems to be in danger of life. More inexplicably fought with Kyochi, and the other went berserk strangely. Master Yuan couldn't explain it either. Now that Kyochi is gone, his most powerful evidence can't be proved to him, so he has to wait for Kyochi's side to end. On the other side, Kakashi, Shisui, and Kuroyuki are fighting hard against the Red Sand Scorpion, while Kakuzu fights back and forth with Kyochi. HMPH, Kyochi, you must be very worried, your subordinates. Hehe. I believe you guessed it, Scorpio is not a gentle person. Kakuzu launched a verbal offensive while fighting with land grievances. He knows that there is a gap in strength between himself and Kyochi, so this time he chose a roundabout and entangled tactic. As long as he entangles Kyochi, he will be successful. Is it impatient not to talk? Oh, I won't let you pass. Wood Clone made a breakthrough to the left, and Kakuzu immediately got serious. Water-style Water Dragon Bomb. Lightning-style False Darkness. Under the ninjutsu bombardment, Wood Clone had to turn back. Pull out with one knife. The blade was out of the sheath, and the wind-style swordsmanship was even more powerful under the blessing of the celestial being chakra. The invisible wind blade instantly cut off the silk thread of the earth's resentment, and the water-style mask was almost cut. Kakuzu was taken aback, and quickly used chakra to repair the chopped-up body of the masked monster. This guy, it's really terrible. He began to duel more cautiously, just wanting to wait for Scorpion to end. But, although Kakashi and the others are not strong, they are the elite of this generation after all, and their cooperation with each other is not bad. If the Scorpion body and puppets are added, they may soon be defeated. But Scorpio is very cautious. He is very aware of Kyochi's strength, and before he knows whether or not Kyochi will be entangled by Kakuzu, it is impossible for him to take the shot easily. If only relying on puppets. Kakashi, Shisui and Yuhihong's abilities are easy to handle. Although they are invincible, they are not dangerous, and they can even destroy some puppets. Hong, don't use that kind of technique, these puppets are just ordinary puppets. Seeing that Kurenai Yuhi showed signs of making a move, Shisui hurriedly stopped him in a low voice. Yes. Yuhihong was a little unwilling. She is best at medical ninjutsu and genjutsu, but the only lethal chakra scalpel in medical ninjutsu cannot work on puppets, and genjutsu is even less likely to work on puppets. So, there is only one technique left for her to pose a threat to the puppet and actually attack it. So, seeing Kakashi and Shisui fighting, it was inevitable that she was a little anxious. We must find his body, otherwise it will be useless to kill more puppets. Kakashi said. Shisui nodded slightly. Of course he was observing, but the other party is very cunning. The Scorpion's puppet was constantly moving, and his hiding position changed so quickly that it was impossible for Shisui to accurately judge his position, but, after observing for so long, it was naturally rewarding. This way. The moment the puppet was killed, Shisui's Sharingan spun wildly, and the next moment, he rushed out with a swish, and a dozen figures appeared on the battlefield under the body flicker technique. Kakashi and Kurenai Yuhi followed behind. The three rushed forward quickly, and the puppets quickly surrounded them, constantly obstructing the battle. However, Kakashi's hesitant Thunderblade and lightning-style chakra are highly cohesive. The next moment, boom! There was a sound of thunder, and rolling lightning spread from Kakashi's body, turning into a ball of light and flying forward. Lightning-style Thunderball. And the scale is not small. The puppets dodge quickly, but when they dodge, they also give Shisui enough opportunities to rush in. In the blink of an eye, he passed the puppet blocking. Draw the knife. Kanda-style wind sword, a sword. The highly concentrated wind-style chakra forms an invisible wind blade in the air, and the blade has arrived before the sword wind arrives. Laugh. There was a soft sound. A figure jumped out from behind the cover. This is a strange puppet. It looks very ugly lying on the ground, but its defense effect is very strong. The wind blade just left a small wound on it, and it failed to break through completely. It's really terrifying swordsmanship. Kanda Kyochi's disciple, unexpectedly has such strength. Scorpion said in a low voice, the stronger your sword skills, the happier I will be. It must be good to make you puppets. By the way, the silver-haired one, what is your relationship with Hitaki Tsukumo? My name is Kanda. Kakashi shamelessly lied. Scorpion was silent for a moment. After a while, he said, I remembered, there is also the name of Hitaki Kakashi in the information given. You are Hitaki Kakashi, right? Hey, Hitaki's family, I will concoct you specially, let you go down after even your father wouldn't recognize it. After finishing speaking, the puppets all around instantly lifted into the air. Scorpion is serious. Kakashi's heart sank. He knew that his father had fought against Sanagakure and killed many high-level officials, among whom there seemed to be the son of Chiyo, that is, Scorpion's parents. He has an unresolvable grudge with Scorpion, so Kakashi did not hesitate to lie and wanted to procrastinate, but unfortunately, Unrealistic. The other party seemed to be playing tricks on him. In the next moment, countless shurikens flew over, and the puppets wielded their swords and cooperated with each other to launch a close attack. Many chunins cannot do this kind of cooperation. As expected of the strongest puppet genius, Kakashi had a deeper understanding of the title of Scorpion of Red Sand. He quickly threw White Fang to Shisui, and then the Thunder Knife made a mistake, and thunder burst out all over his body. Thunder Sword Chidoryu. In an instant, the puppets who were about to attack him were all shaken away by the thunder. But immediately afterwards, the next wave of attacks came again. The puppets are like a wave, and the wave after wave of attacks is overwhelming, and most of the attacks are on Kakashi's side. Obviously, Scorpion wants to defeat Kakashi first, and then deal with Shisui and Kurenai Yuhi. To be precise, his targets were more Kakashi and Shisui, but Yuhihong received the least attack. The three kept fighting and avoiding, while approaching Scorpion at the same time, while Yuhihong was always looking for an opportunity, and Scorpion's neglect of her was her opportunity. But at the same time, she also remembered Kyochi's exhortation. The body of the Scorpion may not be the structure of a normal person, and the vital points of a normal person are meaningless to him, so even if you hit, retreat to avoid further damage. I only have one chance to strike. Yuhihong's strength and physical skills may not be the best, but she is good at illusion, she has strong perception, and she is very good at handling details. She had observed it before. Shisui hit with all his strength, leaving only a small narrow wound on the body of the Scorpion's puppet, which shows that the puppet's defense ability is extraordinary. The goal she set for herself this time is, break this turtle shell. Kakashi and Shisui were deliberately cooperating with her actions, and kept pulling the puppet closer to the Scorpion. The Scorpion also fought and retreated, and the air was filled with poisonous fog. The lion fights the rabbit with all its strength. Scorpion didn't look down on or play around with Kakashi because they were young. Except that they didn't use Third Cage's puppet, they basically showed their true skills. 20 or so puppets cooperate with each wave to attack, consuming Kakashi and their chakra, and they never need to fight with their real bodies unless it is absolutely necessary. This is how the puppeteer fights. However, he ignored Yu Hahong. Or, not so much. And during the battle, Kakashi deliberately used water-style ninjutsu, coupled with Shisui's fire style. The water vapor in the air was very strong at the moment. The already gloomy sky was now even more gloomy. When Shiaki was fighting and retreating, he suddenly came to the top of the tree in an instant, holding two thunder knives in both hands. Thunder rolls. Blazing lightning leapt across the treetops. Scorpion is puzzled. But the next moment, he sensed a powerful force of nature. Like a dragon, a thunderbolt swept down from the clouds. Gala. An ear-piercing explosion sounded. In the next moment, the white lightning slanted down from the sky, and under the guidance of the thunder knife and lightning, it quickly blasted towards the position of the Scorpion. Scorpion instantly gave up controlling the puppet and fled outside. This lightning. If he hit himself, he might have to give up his current body. Although he is no longer in the physical body, his own puppet polishing is the most perfect. Once the body is replaced, the combat effectiveness may be greatly reduced. Not to mention, he also carries the important puppet scroll with him. But when he gave up part of the puppet control and focused more on running, a figure rushed out from the side. Go to hell. Yuhihong rushed forward. Scorpion's puppet shot out hidden weapons from several holes, but at this moment, Yuhihong didn't care anymore. Strange power technique. The chakra airflow swept along with the fist. Hidden weapons and poisonous mist are all swept away by chakra's airflow, and they can't hurt her at all, even if the price is muscle rupture, but the results are gratifying. With one blow, the surrounding area was devastated. The diffuse dust, the cracked ground, and the unclear situation on the battlefield seemed to show that the Scorpion had been seriously injured. However, Yuhihong didn't linger with a successful punch, but retreated quickly under the coverage of Shisui's great fireball, but when Shisui's great fireball covered it. In the flames, the pitch-black sand and iron formed a wall. You are very good, worthy of being Kyochi's disciples. I admit that you are tricky and worthy of being my favorite. Now. Die. The next moment, the red sand Scorpion rushed out of the flames. All the puppets who had given up their control before all flew up at this moment, and they were extremely agile. Dozens of puppets rushed towards them in a flying motion, and they cooperated exquisitely with each other. The most terrifying thing is the weird puppet on him. That is, Kakashi took a deep breath, filled with shock. What a lunatic this guy is. He made Third Cage into a puppet, and still kept the bloodline limit. Such puppetry. Like Balayuhu, they are all lunatics through and through. No wonder the defection. He took a deep breath and looked at the sky. Kylin can no longer boot. In the Kylin just now, it was only because the scorpion moved slowly that it was able to bombard accurately, but now that the scorpion appeared in its own body, its speed was several times faster than before. Not only that, but he didn't have much chakra left. I don't know what's going on with Mr. Kyoshi, Mr. Minato, can you hurry up and save me? Kakashi sighed inwardly. But then, his eyes gradually focused. Although the enemy is strong and the teacher has not come yet, since the teacher appointed himself as the captain, then it is his duty to protect others. Kakashi drew his knife, and at the right moment, he rushed down from the tree and headed for the puppet behind the scorpion. Scorpion naturally did not relax his vigilance. He had already suffered the loss of underestimating the enemy once on Shirihong. How could he fall twice in the same pit? Kakashi appeared instantly. Under the ground, several puppets emerged. At the same time, magnet-style sand iron giant needle. Several giant needles with magnetic force flew towards Kakashi. Kakashi felt the edge of the blade deflected, and immediately knew something was wrong, put away the thunder knife and retreated. But the scorpion at this moment has already targeted him. The continuous attacks came towards him in order to limit Kakashi's performance and prevent him from using the terrible lightning-style ninjutsu before. Shisui protects Kurenai Yuhi, protects her from the ruptured arm muscles, and when she wants to save Kakashi. A sheet of iron sand surrounds Kakashi. Inside, there are many iron thorns. Sand iron realm law. Kakashi, Shisui's eyes widened. He knows that sand iron has the effect of magnet style, which can pull iron objects. Knives and ninja tools are very limited in front of sand iron, and Kakashi's strongest is knife skills. He feels bad. Shouldn't Kakashi fix one, but kill you later? I will let you watch your partner die with your own eyes, and let you experience the greatest helplessness and pain. Scorpion sneered. The iron sand outside disappeared, and Kakashi avoided most of the iron sand, but he still suffered a lot of injuries, and there were still many iron spikes that imprisoned his actions. Actually, if Kakashi hadn't used Chidori Ryu to shake away part of the sand iron, and he had avoided the sand iron stabbing with his superb physical skills, he might have died under the sand iron world method. Kakashi was restrained in the sand and iron, his mouth was struggling to open, as if to say, run. The next moment, Scorpion's eyes turned to Shisui and Yuhihong. But he also paid attention to the situation on Kakuzu's side. That rascal seems to really entangle Kyoshi Kanda. That guy said that he was fighting against first generation. It seems that he is not completely bragging. He does have strength. Your teacher is entangled and cannot rescue you. It's a pity, but you will become my eternal collection. As Scorpion said, those puppets floated into the air again, surrounding Shisui and the others. However, at this moment, he couldn't help but startled. Chakra fluctuations? That kid can still use ninjutsu? He looked back at Kakashi, but in the next second, Scorpion saw that the sand and iron he created turned into dust in an instant. For a split second, he didn't even know what happened. Wait for the sand and iron to disperse. Kanda Kyoshi? No, aren't you on Kakuzu's side? Scorpion could sense that Kakuzu was still fighting hard with Kanda Kyoshi and did not let him come. But what is this in front of you? Kakashi, I'm sorry, I was almost late. Take a rest. Kyoshi was silent for a moment after speaking. Namikaze Minato, it's really unreliable. He summoned a Katsuyu, looked at Kurenai Yuhi, then ignored the scorpion and disappeared instantly. Teacher. Shisui was a little excited. He almost thought Kakashi was dead, but Kyoshi came back in time. Hong, you heal him. Yes. Seeing the teacher, Yuhihong no longer has any worries. The teacher is here, Scorpio and Kakuzu are nothing to worry about. Scorpion of red sand, even Chio can't save you today, I said so. Kanda Kyoshi. Scorpion opened his mouth, but finally didn't know what to say. He gets it. That idiot Kakuzu was holding off on wasn't real at all, he'd been outwitting Kyoshi's clone. This sense of oppression is not at the same level at all. What is in front of you is the body. He took a deep breath. No doubt. There were problems with the information and plans that person provided. But so far, there is no way out. Shie focused his eyes and said, you are very strong. If you can become my favorite, my strength will be improved. For this, I will do my best. With the puppet in your hand? That's right. The scarlet sand scorpion threw off his robe, and poked out the organs on his body. The rotating machine, the modified body, there are no signs of human beings in his whole body, only the modified puppet is left, in a sense. The state of the scorpion is quite similar to Orochimaru's way of thinking. Kyoshi didn't talk nonsense with him. Glancing at the puppets in the air, he slowly drew out the blade. It is different from the previous sword drawing technique. This time his sword was very slow, but Scorpion could feel the infinite oppression. He seemed to be in the eye of the storm. One step outside, and it will be torn to pieces by the storm. Terrible swordplay. He was shocked in his heart, but now was not the time to be surprised. The Scorpion manipulated the puppet, and the sand and iron condensed to form a steel forest. Dense and huge iron needles spread around Kyoshi, attacking all creatures indiscriminately. Sand-iron realm law. Not only that. This time, there is also a terrible toxin attached to the iron sand. But if you hit, basically, death is not far away. However, at this moment, the knife was out of its sheath. The storm is howling. This is not an ordinary wind style. There are countless small, sharp invisible wind blades hidden in the wind, which belong to Kyoshi's sage art sword technique modified from the Rasengan Shuriken. A sword was unsheathed. The surrounding sand and iron were all cut and disintegrated by the wind blade, and the floating puppets were instantly shattered, and where the Scorpion was, a black iron ball surrounded him to protect him. Cut by the wind blade, the iron ball continued to grow and destroy, and finally blocked the power of the wind blade. Terrible swordsmanship. Scorpion has seen many powerful ninjas and many terrifying ninja swordsmanship, but this sword is the only one. He felt completely unstoppable. If it weren't for the constant resistance with sand and iron, he might be wiped out together with the core now. So strong. The Scarlet Sand Scorpion began to consider. How did you run away? Impossible to be an opponent. Shisui protects Kurenai Yuhi and Kakashi, and Sharingan observes the changes in ninjutsu, thinking deeply. This sword is no ordinary ninjutsu. It incorporates the Rishi chakra, practiced by the teacher. He is the fairy art that belongs exclusively to the teacher. Even swordsmanship can develop immortality. Unfortunately, I don't have great talent in this area. Shisui secretly regretted in his heart, but he thought of the power of Sharingan, but he was relieved. Sharingan is also powerful. If it can be developed to ultimate, it will not be much weaker than the fairy chakra. Speaking of it, I didn't seem to be able to see the teacher's swordsmanship so clearly before. What's the matter now? Could it be? Shisui didn't have time to think about it. Because at this moment, Kyoshi made another move. Body flicker technique. Next second. Blinking forward, combined with Sage mode, his speed is even faster than throwing kunai and flying Thunder God, and he is in front of Scorpion in the blink of an eye. Where has Scorpion seen such a fast physical technique? Sand-iron ninjutsu is halfway derived. Call out. Slashed with a sword. The chakra thread of third cage was cut. The Scorpion recovered quickly, however. It's a bit troublesome not to have a complete body, but your core is destined to be very fragile. Even if you protect it well, in front of me, such protection is meaningless. Voices echoed around him. The next moment, Kyoshi's figure in front of him slowly melted into foam. Kakuzu. Scorpion yelled frantically. But in fact, at this time Kakuzu already understood that something was wrong. The enemy he was fighting against turned out to be another wood clone. Fortunately, he thought he had successfully entangled his opponent. The results of it got played again, and the avatars are so powerful, the strength of the main body can be imagined. At this moment, he would not fight anymore. His mind was full of thoughts of running away, and as for the rescue Scorpion, he had no such thoughts. Everyone is rebellious. Between rebellion and rebellion, the biggest bottom line that can be done is not to kill each other. Sacrificing oneself for others is not something they can do. Scorpion was also very decisive in running away last time, and had no intention of saving him at all. So, hearing Shia's call for help, he ran even faster. Kyoshi didn't pursue. Kakuzu is just a clown and can be dealt with at any time, but the red sand scorpion is troublesome. This guy doesn't have a fixed body, and unless the flying thunder god imprint can be engraved on the core, for the puppeteer, it's just a matter of changing a puppet. Not to mention, I said, even Chio can't be saved, this won't win. Where to save face? Scorpion's whole body was full of sand and iron, however, he found desperately that Kyoshi did not retreat half a step, and those sand and iron were blocked by layers of protection when they touched Kyoshi. This guy, how many defensive ninjutsu are there? The most frightening thing is that all of them are Muji Jutsu, and none of them need a seal. It's outrageous. Scorpion cursed secretly. He completely lost the idea of confronting Kyoshi, but the problem at hand was he couldn't think of a way to escape. A sword. Arms drop. The mechanism on his body popped out, and the iron chain flew out from behind to sneak attack, but the opponent directly grabbed it with his hand. Doesn't break defense at all. After being pulled, the body of the Scorpion almost fell apart. He moved to the third cage puppet in an instant, and then sand iron expanded, trying to escape with the help of the increase of sand iron realm and magnet style. Scorpion is fast enough. However, When his core moved to third cage, just as he took root to control the puppet to escape, the ground under the puppet's feet suddenly turned into pieces of paper. The next moment, all the pieces of paper flew over and surrounded him. From the corner of Scorpion's eyes, he saw a spell in Kyochi's palm printed on these papers, and then the paper around him turned into a cage, and the pre-drawn spells spread from the paper. 4 elephant seals. Under the suppression of the technique, although Scorpion continued to resist, his chakra was gradually sealed, and he could control the puppet at first, but then the puppet lost control. And then later. It is difficult for him to perceive the external situation. All consciousness is sealed in the core, only this square inch. This is also the weakness of the core. It is very convenient, it can freely change the body, it is very strong to some extent, but it also magnifies the weakness of the core. At least a normal person can at least move his hands and feet to use physical skills after being sealed. Scorpion can't help it at all. Kyochi sealed the red sand scorpion. At this time, there was a wave of space fluctuation, and a figure came late. What? What's going on? Finished. Namikaze Minado's expression froze. It's my fault for pinning my hopes on you, Minato, you have an incredible curse. Kyochi was powerless to complain. I originally thought that the curse of being late on this guy had disappeared, but it turned out that I was too diligent before and didn't give him a chance to trigger it. The corner of Minato's mouth twitched. Can this really be his fault? From Konoha to here, he had already run as hard as he could, basically without rest in the middle, but what to do if he was late? Fortunately, he looked and quickly noticed Kakashi lying there. Is Kakashi alright? It's a little bit injured, but it can be rescued. It's not a big problem. Kyochi threw the scorpion to him. Minato looked at the strangely shaped paper bag in his hand, as well as various wreckage on the ground, and asked, what's going on here? Who is this guy? The red sand scorpion. Kyochi tosses it to him, then stretches, sensing it. Kakuzu. It runs very fast. In such a short period of time, he has already run several kilometers away, without the slightest intention of stopping to save him. Perhaps now Kakuzu is also thinking about who will rescue him. But obviously, Madara couldn't make a move for him. Namikaze Minato checked it out. Man, this thing is a puppet, but somehow there are signs of life inside. Living puppet. Do not. It's more like the scorpion made itself into a very special state of life. This kind of researcher. What a madman. Namikaze Minato silently put down the sealed package, then looked in the direction of Kakuzu's escape, and said, that guy, do you want to catch up, or let him run for a while? Kakuzu has the imprint of Flying Thunder God on his body. In addition to being powerful, this kind of guy basically has a live navigation wherever he goes, and he is as eye-catching as a light bulb. However, I have to admit that this guy is an unstable person. His secret technique has determined that he will cause a lot of threat to others. If he wants to solve it, now is the best chance. Kyochi thought about it seriously. Let Kakuzu go. With his current ability, he can have exact coordinates, and he can locate and teleport at any time, but the problem is, this guy doesn't seem to be a core figure either. As it stands, it looks like a throwaway tool guy, with no chance of getting access to Uchiha Madara's lair, or even meeting Madara. Kyochi suspects. Maybe it was third Mizukage who met him. But anyway, Madara does have such a temporary base in the country of water. If you can destroy that base, you can make a small fortune anyway. After thinking about it, he pondered over and over again, and said, let him run for a while, I'm exhausted now, and we'll deal with him when we settle down with him. Alright, then Baiyun Morning and their side. Let them come over, the situation here is a bit complicated, we need force to deter. Master Yuan still owes money, certainly. Mainly, Kyochi needs a positive attitude from Mist Shinobi's side. There are quite a few white Zetsu. He didn't want Konoha to face white Zetsu unilaterally, and the gang from other villages stood on the shore watching the show, and they might start a war when it was finally over. The crisis in the ninja world, of course, requires everyone to participate together. Otherwise, what's the point of rolling everyone together? Namikaze Minato didn't become Hokage, and now Kyochi has taken over a lot of chores. Life has been very nourishing recently, and his alertness in this area has dropped a bit. But he still knew that Kyochi must have his own considerations, so he didn't say anything. After returning the package to Kyochi, he went to Kakashi to see Kakashi's situation. How about Kakashi? The injury has healed, but some fine iron sand can't be removed temporarily, I'm working hard. Yuhi Hong's forehead was covered with sweat. It is really difficult for her to take out tiny pieces like iron sand. But considering that the teacher has just experienced several battles, it is not easy for her to ask the teacher for help. She is trying to complete her task at the moment, and has already taken out the iron sand from a wound. But there are many more. Kyochi glanced, but didn't say, I'll come. Except a little slower. The other Kurenai Yuhi have done well, and now Kurenai Yuhi has not reached the limit. This kind of experience is very helpful for her ninja career. Namikaze Minato opened his mouth, but finally said nothing. Kurenai Yuhi is Kyochi's disciple after all. If it was Lin, he might feel that there is no need to force himself so much, but think about it. He doesn't seem to be good at teaching. At least in Konoha, the recognized education expert is Kyochi, not him Namikaze Minato, and Minato himself often asks Kyochi for advice. So, I will not intervene in this regard. Kyochi didn't come out until Yuhihong's face turned pale, his body was exhausted, and he was about to take a Bingliang pill to continue. You did a good job at the front, let me do the rest. If you take Bingliang pills for treatment, you won't be consuming chakra, and you may lose some of your vitality. That's not necessary. Kyochi wants to exercise her, not destroy her. This kind of operation is not small, but the good thing is that Kakashi avoided the vital points, and basically did not hurt the muscles and bones, but there were some iron sand residues in the body. Just take the iron sand out. He cut the wound and carefully attached and disintegrated the iron sand with chakra, slowly bringing them out. Namikaze Minato and the others were extremely nervous. Less than a few minutes. Kyochi started closing the wound with healing jutsu. Is that all right? Namikaze Minato was amazed. Kyohi had been working on it for so long and couldn't complete everything. But Kyochi came up. It seemed that it was not difficult to divide 2 by 3. Otherwise, after reaching a certain level, many ninjutsu can be used flexibly. Iron sand is created by Scorpion using ninjutsu. Of course, ninjutsu can also be used to break it down. It's just that the knowledge and skills involved in the process are more difficult to learn. Kyochi explained simply. Shihahong was thoughtful. No wonder she felt that the teacher's method was different from her own. It turned out that the teacher directly decomposed the iron sand into the state of chakra, so that the heterogeneous chakra could be guided out with the fine extraction technique. But, want to break down iron sand? This difficulty is not as simple as taking out the iron ore from Jung or Bajing, on the contrary, it is super doubled. Simply put, the teacher's technique is a superior substitution, not a popular technique. Minato thought of more. Decomposing iron sand is the reverse chakra nature transformation. It's hard. But if it can be used in actual combat, it can perfectly dissolve the opponent's ninjutsu. Such a technique. Hey, this technique can only be used in these places at present. Kyochi coughed lightly. Decomposition is not that simple. In fact, it took him a few minutes to decompose these grains of iron sand. If it is on the battlefield, the amount of iron sand and the decomposition time will be doubled. And ninjutsu creations with iron sand as a substantial existence can use this method, but it is basically impossible to achieve fire style and lightning style. So, at present, it is almost impossible to use it in actual combat. Minato felt a little regretful, but he also knows that the creation of a ninjutsu is not so easy, and there are often many detours in the process, and sometimes the final use of ninjutsu is inconsistent with the expected situation. Let's find a place to rest first. Kakashi hasn't woken up yet, and Kyochi has consumed a lot. Let's go to Kakuzu now. In case of accidents, let alone they are gone, what will Shisui and the others do? Best case is to wait. Anyway, Kakuzu is already marked, it's too easy to find him, and it doesn't take much time. By the way, I hope Kakuzu can help him find his lair on the side of the water country. He wished secretly from the bottom of his heart. When they arrived at the hotel, Kyochi sat down with Minato and had a good chat about the situation in the country of water. Only then did Minato understand why Kyochi called him to the front line urgently. Uchiha Madara, 3rd Mizukage, 3 Tails Jinchuriki. It is indeed not easy for Kyochi to deal with these people at the same time, and the most fearful thing is the opponent's ability to manipulate. As for why not choose Konoha, this is not difficult to understand. Roll your eyes. Both Baian and Sharingan have the characteristics of insight. As the owner of Sharingan, how can Madara not understand this? Then what are we going to do if we continue to stay in the land of water? The state of the ninja world is that without external force, everyone will fight each other, but once there is external force, then there is the possibility of cooperation. I will force Kirigakure to cooperate with us. Kyochi said simply. Minato thought about it. Cooperation. The target, of course, is Uchiha Madara. Wrong. And that strange creature. There are a lot of that kind of creatures? With the reproduction ability of first-generation cells, as long as there are enough and suitable culture equipment, it is not difficult to produce a huge number of special cell organisms. It would be too expensive for Konoha to face it alone. Minato knows something about white Zetsu, but these days, he has been busy with his husband and wife Love, teaching his disciples, flying thunder formations, or going out of the village to perform tasks. The secret mission of the village. He wished he could keep his ears shut, because every time Kyochi told him something important, it meant something big had happened and he needed to take action. But he never expected that Uchiha Madara might be manipulating behind all this, and now the other party has even acquiesced in his identity. Uchiha Madara, the legend who was famous in the ninja world during the first generation, has survived to this day, and has become the black hand behind the scenes of controlling the ninja world. Senju Hashirama couldn't believe it. After hearing this, Minato felt complicated. After thinking for a while, he said, Uchiha Madara, do you have a way to fish him out now? To be honest, no. I originally expected Kakuzu to help me find it, but Kakuzu has been in the country of water for a while, and now it seems that Madara doesn't mean to include him in the core, so let's take him back. Kyochi has several options. But whether he can get Madara out, he is not completely sure. After all, if Madara can't make up his mind, it's useless even if he brings Geto statue summoning over. And even if it is pulled out, Madara will die at worst. As long as Black Zetsu is still alive, sooner or later Uchiha Madara may be resurrected. As for Zoidan educating Madara, it's so difficult. To be honest, it is no less than teaching Senju Tobirama to live in peace, love and help each other with the Uchiha clan, and he would not be a bird at all. The reason why the strong are strong is because they have their own ideas and absolute self-confidence. This is true for Senju Hashirama, Uchiha Madara, Senju Tobirama, Third Raikage, including Kyochi and Minato, all have their own ideas and beliefs. Only when the ideas are similar can it be possible to persuade and guide. Obviously, if Madara was so easy to be guided, it would be impossible to have the current strength, let alone grow from Sharingan to Rinnegan step by step, laying out a big chess game. Minato nodded slightly after listening. He was about to speak, and suddenly stood up and looked out, but Kyochi just waved his hand lightly, opened the window and looked out at the river. Are you sent by Yuenshi? Wow, there was a splashing sound. A figure emerged from the river. Old acquaintance. Ghost Lamp Chinba bowed slightly, and said respectfully, Master Kyochi, Master Yuenshi asked me to invite you. I've been to Kirigakure, it's over, you can go back and find Master Yuan. Kyochi was straight to the point. Ghost Lantern Chianren's face froze, unable to conceal his astonishment, and after a few seconds he said, is it true? You can go back and confirm. Kyochi said flatly. Yes, I'm very sorry, I didn't question you, but I was a little surprised, after all you. I understand, thank you and Master Minato for taking action. Onito Chiba saw the one next to Kyochi, and immediately thought that it might be the effect of Flying Thunder God, making Kyochi go back and forth between Kirigakure and here faster than him. To know, he didn't listen to Yuenshi's instructions. As Jonin, Ghost Lamp Chianren has his own keen judgment, and immediately realized that something was wrong after confirming that Yuenshi was taken away by Third Mizukage's people. Ghost Lamp Chiba came to Kyochi for the first time, but he was still a step behind. But the problem was solved in such a short period of time. The strength of the two of Konoha really cannot be underestimated. Can't afford it. It looks like you should have come out early. If you were a few minutes late, you shouldn't have to make this trip. If there are no other problems, you can go back. Yes, although I don't know what the situation is, but thank you very much. Ghost Lamp Chinba thanked him again and again, and the group with a humble attitude seemed to be afraid that Kyochi and Minato would misunderstand him for eavesdropping on information and praise him. For other people, he felt capable of running away. But Kanda Kyochi is the exception. After all, there is a lesson from the Ghost Lamp Chinjing. After some friendly exchanges, Ghost Lamp Chian Ren turned into water and left. Minato was silent for a moment. This guy's attitude is very different from his previous attitude. He remembered that when there were 7 ninja swordsmen in the past, this kid was so crazy that no one in the world could cure him. And now, is it the feeling that the front is arrogant and the back is respectful, and thinking about it makes people laugh? Although it's a bit difficult to understand, it's almost what you mean. I still like him better in the past, but now it's a bit uncomfortable for me. Minato scratched his head, and the kid seemed to have some sort of misunderstanding. Never mind. Not a big problem. Both Kyochi and Minato didn't pay much attention, closed the window, and continued discussing the previous matter. In fact, there is not much to discuss. The focus is on Kakuzu and Uchiha Madara, the existence of Black Zetsu. It is difficult for Kyochi to tell Minato, after all, this kind of thing is more special than White Zetsu. He has never seen the entity with his own eyes, let alone find a way to disclose it to others. Such a conjecture has no empirical basis, so it is difficult to be convincing. The key is, even telling Minato them, so far, Kyochi doesn't seem to have very good restraint. So, it's better to let it go. Slept through the night. The next morning, Minato came to Kyochi. Kyochi. Kakashi sat by the window in a daze after waking up. You should go and see what's going on. Kyochi is weird. Is he your disciple? Why are you looking for me? This. I feel like I'm not very good at education, at least without you. Kyochi was speechless, then thought about it for a moment. Something didn't feel right. I use Orochimaru as a toolman. In Minato's eyes, maybe I'm not sure? Never mind. Don't think too much. Kyochi got up and knocked on the door. Kakashi quickly came to open the door, saw that it was Kyochi, and bowed immediately. Mr. Kyochi, thank you for your timely rescue, otherwise, everyone may die. It's nothing, I brought you out, and I have the responsibility to bring you back. Kyochi walked in and took a look around. Kakashi's body is recovering very well, and there are basically no problems, but he seems a little uncomfortable without the mask. After Kyochi entered, Kakashi hurriedly pulled a chair over. Your teacher is very worried about you. Let me take a look. How is it? Did you freak out yesterday? Don't feel discouraged. The Red Sand Scorpion was also Sanagakure's strongest genius back then. Genius. Who is not yet? The talent of the Red Sand Scorpion is not weaker than Kakashi at all, not to mention the age gap between the two. It is not a shame to be unable to fight back in front of the Scorpion. Kakashi nodded, then shook his head again. Mr. Kyochi, I'm not thinking about this. You didn't give me a task yesterday. All I could think about at the last moment was to protect Shisui and Hong. I suddenly understood. Kakashi looked out the window into the distance. That was the direction of Konoha. He sat there, watching quietly, and then said, as you said just now, if you bring us out, you will bring us back. At that moment, my Lord Father probably had the same thoughts. No one likes sacrifice and parting. Yes, but Father is not completely right. It's all right, Kakashi, don't think too much. Senior Tsukumo is facing an age-old problem. No one can perfectly answer it, and it doesn't have a completely correct solution. Kyochi was relieved. Kakashi can understand this step, which shows that he has really opened the knot in his heart, and it is not the original situation where the new knot replaces the old knot. He really got it. Only, for smart people, if they think too much, they will sometimes enter a new dead end. Such is the predicament faced by Shuo Mao. That's the trolley problem, and it stumps a lot of people. Kyochi thought for a while, and added, ninjas are indeed tools, but not entirely tools, because everyone has their own emotions and ideas, so there will be new creations. Teacher, I understand what you mean. I was just thinking. Whether my father had a better choice at that time, so I. Kakashi scratched his head and said embarrassedly, under the circumstances of understanding father's thoughts and emotions, I didn't think of the best solution. The best solution is to make the village stronger. If there are 10 or 20 Hitaki Tsukumo in the village, will we still face this problem? It seems. How could it be so easy for a ninja of Hitaki Tsukumo's level to appear? Kakashi wanted to refute. But, he thought about what Kyochi had done. Enhance education. Let all students get a better learning environment and opportunities, and let ninjas at all stages have channels and space for self-improvement. I see. I was still wondering whether my father was right or wrong, but the teacher had fundamentally solved this problem. After a moment of silence, he stood up and bowed respectfully. Teacher, I understand what you mean.